Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Moore. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, I think before we get started, we need to thank our sponsor, Layers. When it is cold, when it is windy, when the real field temperature is around 16 degrees, Layers will keep you warm.
Well,
we hope, because the team doesn't get here for nearly an hour, so we've got a lot to talk about before we have Ryan Day and crew getting off buses right behind us.
This is not my decision. I am here via protest. And Tom, are you able to read any of that?
Yes, I am. Jeff Spangler became a YouTube member. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much for that. So, yes, we are here at an undisclosed location, the team hotel. Team will be arriving. I was told they're a little ahead of schedule, which would be fantastic for those of us who are not on a bus or sitting in a car waiting for said bus to arrive.
I enjoyed the heated seats in the car while we were sitting there waiting for this. But yes, it is. It's a little chilly. It's 30 or so. It's been overcast all day up here, and also there's a little bit of wind. So yes, the real field temperature was kind of in the mid-teens. So we're basically with the Ohio State Tennessee game last year. That's basically us right now. So I don't know how that's going to impact our ability to throw the football, but I wasn't planning on throwing it a lot anyway.
This will definitely impact my ability to do a show, but I will power through. And so go ahead and throw your questions in super chats. We will get to as much as we can today. And Tom, we are now, since this is a live show, everybody knows exactly how far away we are from the game. Mm-hmm. Less than, 18 hours or so, thereabouts-ish, 19 hours.
19 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, and 12:14 p.m. kickoff.
Oh, well then, 19 hours and 54 minutes.
Yeah, a big noon kickoff. As you know, it's not quite it's not actually a noon kickoff. So 12:15 tomorrow, things will finally get here. This is something we talk about all year long. We wait for it. And for me, the reason this is different, other than it's a rivalry game, we cover 11 games, and then you cover history.
Yes.
Every year for this game, you're about to watch history. You don't know how it's going to go, but everybody's going to be remembering it for a very long time, and especially for the year that follows. So I think, to me, it's always a privilege and an honor to cover this game, knowing what it means and how long it's going to be remembered.
For sure, because you can go back, pick a year, and I can probably tell you the Ohio State-Michigan score. Could I tell you the score of... I don't know that I could tell you who Ohio State played in non-conference last year with any real high degree of certainty, or certainly without having to stop and think about it. But this game, I can tell you what happened in this game last year. I can tell you what happened in this game 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 30 years ago. I can tell you. You were here 30 years ago.
Yeah,
that's a game. A game you talk about. That's a game you talk about all the time. But this is the game that defines the season for Ohio State, and that's always true. That's always going to be true. I know that with the modern college football playoff, and last year, Ohio State lost this game, won the national championship. This is still. Boy, you didn't win that game last year. That's still a topic this week. It's not, everyone's kind of gotten, no one's worried about that because they won the national championship last year. This is still the game that everyone talks about.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom, if you can read any of those questions as they come across, feel free.
We are good at the type is small on our phone. So if there is a super chat, I will lean in and read it. Otherwise, I see our friend Sue. Hello, Sue. I recognize your avatar, but yeah, we'll dip in and read the super chats, but otherwise we'll.
So, I think you mentioned the cold. I don't think it's going to be an issue tomorrow because the players have been through it. They're kind of tired of maybe even being asked about it. Like, it's going to be 30 degrees tomorrow, right? Sonny, you're asking Sonny Styles about the temperatures. They played against Tennessee last year and they were fine.
Yeah,
like they handled that well. They handled the pressure of Texas well. They've handled everything well this season, Tom. But when you look at that schedule, there's one ranked team on that schedule. That was Texas, the season opener. Both teams are still figuring out who they were. Ohio State, after that, Ryan Day said we probably could have done more with Julian Sand. Probably could have done more here or there. They're very conservative. I think Ohio State had like 270 yards of total offense in that game and was leading 14-0 at the end in the final 3 minutes. So they weren't challenged to go get more. I don't know if 270 yards will do it on Saturday, but this will be the biggest challenge for Ohio State since that Texas game. And there's no reason to feel things out in terms of, well, we don't know what Texas is. You know what Michigan is. You know what you are. You don't necessarily need to feel things out. You can come out swinging if you want.
Yeah, and I think they are going to come out swinging. I don't think there's any reason. The weather you mentioned, the snow in the forecast has kind of gotten pushed back. There's a winter storm warning, but it starts at 3:00 on Saturday. So, okay, the game's going to basically be over by 3:00 on Saturday. The wind is not expected to be a factor. It's not negative 10 degrees. It's not sleeting sideways. It should be a game where the weather's not, the weather's going to be noticeable, but not be something that controls the game. And given that, I think Ohio State's going to come out and try and set the tempo early, sort of establish. I mean, what they did against Tennessee last year, where they came in and everyone was kind of going, whoa, boy, what is this? Is this an Ohio State team in crisis? And then they came out and just went bombs away in the first quarter. And, the first time Jeremiah Smith caught a touchdown in that Tennessee game, everyone kind of went, oh, okay, I get it. French class. Okay. You might see, I think they're going to take a shot at that. Now, does Michigan know that? And is that going to impact Ohio State's ability to actually do that? Yeah, probably. But I think that Ohio State is going to be looking for opportunities to make a big play early, get on top. They have been playing from behind in this game 2 years in a row. They don't want to do that again. They want to get out in front, make Michigan play from behind, and get that Michigan crowd out of the game. Super chat from JJ. Tom may be a secret Michigan fan. I don't
think it's a secret.
I have lived up here. I lived up here for a number of years.
And why did you move to Columbus, sir?
Why did I move to Columbus?
Yes.
The first time?
Oh, so you are. So you start.
Have you seen the TV series, The Americans?
The Americans, yes, very much so.
Yes, I'm the Kerry Russell of the Ohio State beat.
Everybody said
years.
that.
From @Doug Shepard, coffee or hot chocolate is on me. Oh, thank you, Doug. We appreciate it. We'll see. The team is supposed to get here in about half an hour, 45 minutes or so. This may be one of these shows where, I spend a lot of time at ice rinks, so I am sort of acclimated to this to a certain degree. This may be one of these things where it's like you order a hot chocolate and then you just dip your fingers in the hot chocolate.
You're soaking in it. When we talk about the weather, it's just unfortunate that Ohio State is the only team that has to play in the weather.
Right. Well, yeah. Now, Ohio State's offense is, if both teams could do what they wanted to do, Michigan would run the ball 47 times and throw it maybe 10 and not have to throw it more than 5 yards down the field. And if Ohio State could do what they wanted to do, they would throw the ball. The wind, all things being equal, wind impacts what Ohio State wants to do more than it does Michigan. Again, I don't expect this to be a factor, a meaningful factor in the game. It's something that we talk about. It's something we get asked about. I don't think this is not the 2022 Northwestern game. This is not the 2017 Illinois game where you had those biblical downpours. This is not the Notre Dame North Carolina State game where they were playing in a hurricane. It's not any of those things. This should be
a normal late November game.
Right. Yeah. This is not the first time Ohio State and Michigan have played, and it was not shorts and t-shirt weather.
Ryan Day even said they've been waiting for this weather. It just hasn't happened yet.
Right. They have had a really, really light schedule in terms of weather this year.
Oh, great.
From Jordan Kapler, wife and I drove down to Ohio from the state up north to have Thanksgiving with my family tomorrow, planning on eating at 1 p.m. I'm now trying to decide if I should try to eat with my family or just take my plate to the garage and eat alone. Is that a question? Do you...
Eat alone.
Yeah, yeah. As long as there's a TV in the garage, yeah, you're fine.
I heard Jim Tressel on the radio in Columbus earlier in the week, and he was kind of asked that same kind of question, are you going to go to the game? If not, how are you going to watch it? He's like, well, I'm not going to I'm not going up there. I'm not going to Michigan Stadium. But he does prefer to just watch this game by himself, which you can certainly understand, unless you're around him and Mark D'Antonio get together and watch it.
Right? Yeah.
maybe him and his wife, but other than that, I don't need family around for this.
Well, this is kind of the version of going to, you're a big fan of fill in the blank movie franchise, and then you go with someone who's never seen it before, and then it's like, who's that guy?
Yes.
What does he mean by that?
That's Thor. He's the god of thunder.
What?
Stop asking these stupid questions.
Now, when you say thunder,
yeah.
Super chat from Havenar. If given the opportunity, you think Coach Day would run up the score?
Well, this was actually a listener question that we addressed this this year and also last year.
Right. Yeah.
And I think this time we've decided probably not, because you've got Indiana waiting. Somebody has Indiana waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And then there's more after that. What I do think you could see more of, though, is tempo. Ohio State, slow played all season long to get to these games, to the hardware games, the trophy games, or as Ryan Day calls them. Now they're here. Now there's no reason to go 60 plays, 64. They could, if they want to, and they'll try to catch Michigan in terms of the feeling out period. Like, I wonder when they finally get Michigan in something that they want. Boom, 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 boom. Tempo them.
Yeah.
Keep the three defensive, Ross was talking about the three defensive tackles. Keep those guys on the field as much as you can when you want to throw the ball, because there'll be very little pass rush from those guys.
Right. Yeah. This is an opportunity where you're not going to, when we say run tempo, we don't mean they're going to be snapping the ball at 28 seconds on the play clock, all 60 times they snap the ball, or whatever the number is. It means if you get in an advantageous situation, like you said, you maybe catch them in a personnel grouping where you have a play call that if you know they're going to be in this personnel grouping and the situation, calls for it, you can maybe get into an advantageous spot. That's where that tempo really can come in handy and can make a big difference. And like you said, they really haven't done a ton of it. Now, they've done it enough in the past that everyone knows they have this in their toolbox. They just haven't really done it a lot. I think that's one where, and just in case you're wondering why would that make a difference, you can't sub. Well, you can if you sub between plays, you as an offense, the defense gets the official will stand over the ball until the defense gets a chance to sub. If you don't sub and you run tempo, by all means, defense, feel free to sub, but you better get your hindquarters off that field and get your new guys on, because then you don't have to wait. So if you want to snap it, you can snap it, and you don't have to let them get lined up. You don't have to let them get off the field. And if they don't get off the field, you get a free play. You're going to try to take a shot down the field. If you're trying to get a defensive tackle off the field and he is not moving as fast as they might want him to, if he's still on the field, it's a free play. So then you take your shot and there's no downside.
Yeah, and with Ohio State, I'll be interested to see how Michigan approaches Ohio State's 12 personnel with Max Clare as that second tight end / slot receiver. Do they go nickel? Do they defend him with a safety or a linebacker? Because that has not worked this season for Michigan, and I don't think it would work against Max Clare. So then if they're in nickel, then you run it. Like, basically, whatever they're giving you, go ahead and try to take, and then eventually, some play action or whatever. Very, very basic stuff. But Ohio State versatile enough on offense to do those sorts of things. Also versatile enough on defense too. If Michigan wants to try some tempo, that's okay by Ohio State, because they've got Arvell Reese on the edge, or they got him at linebacker, they've got Caleb Downs, they've got, if they don't have Lorenzo Styles out there at that point, they could still work around it. They're always going to have an ability to gain an advantage or not be disadvantaged.
Yeah, the Ohio State has a lot of different things that they can do, and a lot of different guys that, like you said, Arvell Reese can be a defensive end. Caden Curry can be a defensive end. We also have seen him line up as a nose tackle, straight up over the center. We've seen him do that. We've seen Sonny Styles be a linebacker. We've seen Sonny Styles drop back in coverage. Sonny Styles started his Ohio State career as a safety. He knows how to do it. They can mix and match and move people around. And, do you want Sonny Styles in coverage against a wide receiver? No, you probably don't. But you can put yourself in a situation where you have different guys who can sort of fit different roles. I just keep going back to exactly what you were just saying about Max Clare. You're generally, if as a defensive coordinator, you're just sort of matching personnel. So you're looking and you're saying, okay, Ohio State has 2 tight ends out there. All right, so we're going to be in this. They're in 12 personnel, so we're going to be
4 down line.
You're going to be 4 linemen. You're going to be 4-3, and then 4-3-4. Very standard defense. Well, then if Max Clare splits out, and now you're basically in 11 personnel, which then you'd want your nickel on the field, but you don't have your nickel on the field. You could, and if you're, it's 3rd and 1, and you line up with in 12 personnel, and Claire's one of your tight ends, you pick it up, and then boom, you go, and then you can catch them in a mismatch, stuff like that. That's where that really does potentially, allow you to use tempo to your advantage.
Yeah, and I think Ohio State right now just waiting to kick in the offense, and this is basically what they've been building towards. And now you're here, so no reason to hold anything back now. Now, that doesn't mean you're throwing out everything this week, because this is just the first of a handful of games that they want you to be playing.
Right,
so.
the first of 5 and potentially 6, depending on how it goes. You could potentially, if Michigan beats Ohio State tomorrow and Ohio State misses the Big Ten championship game, Ohio State could once again be playing the Saturday before Christmas and have to win 4 games. You could theoretically, you could lose this game, still go to the Big Ten championship game, have to play that one, theoretically lose that game. I mean, you could, there are ways they could end up having to play 6 games. They're certainly hoping they get to play 5, 1 this weekend, 1 next weekend, and 3 in the college football playoff. But yeah, there is a long way to go. It feels like you get to this game and it's like, well, it's the end of the season. And it's like, well, no, really, this is kind of about the halfway mark when you consider how many games they have had that were not, real meaningful games. Super Chat, not a chance in hell that either Tate or JJ don't play. I expect a wide open game plan.
Well, wide open to a point. You're still right. I still wants to run the ball because they believe they can. But if you're full strength, then that allows you to do anything, and that's what the coaches say balance actually is, the ability to do whatever, whenever. And what it does is, man, we've seen them how limited they were the past 2 weeks. And to have them be unlimited, whether they're wide open or not, just to be unlimited is already an issue for Michigan's defense, which is okay. But we don't know about Ernest Hausman. We don't know what's going on there. We've talked all season long about the secondary and their issues and random injuries that they have at safety at times. But the defensive line, Derek Moore, defensive end, very good. Jayshon Barham, not necessarily the playmaker that Derek Moore is, but has the potential to do something at any point. So that's a guy to watch. But, when you have the ability to do anything, then that's exactly what you've been building towards all season long. And to be as healthy as you can be at this point, and to be as the running game is better than it's been. The passing game is fine. The offensive line, Gabe Van Sickle coming along, Sager Cibola playing better. Seems like things are coming up pretty well for the 12th game of the season, and it's not as ideal, but it's as close to it could be, knowing that there have been some injuries.
Right. No one is 100% healthy this time of year. No football team is ever 100% healthy this time of year. Ohio State is, assuming everything we're hearing about Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Lorenzo Styles is all accurate, and those guys are presumably good to go as of now. That's about as well as things could be going for you injury-wise at this point in the calendar. And I think a lot of that does have to do with the load management that they've done, and sort of both in terms of limiting the snaps, but also not playing. You're seeing like, boy, David Adolph saying in the first quarter in some of these games, like, what's going on? It's like, well, all these little things add up. Spreading the reps from the running backs between 4 different guys this year, that stuff adds up, and it just. You have all the theories about, oh, well, they're doing this and that and strength and conditioning, or, oh, boy, the slit film turf at home. Oh, boy, it's just a death trap. And it's like, well, here they are, and they're not in bad shape right now. So I think a lot of the stuff they're doing is working. Again, there are no guarantees. And, we can hear all we want about how everyone's in decent shape. And someone could wake up tomorrow morning and, like, whatever is tight or whatever is sore or whatever is, and on a cold day, you might not take a chance. But right now, it seems like they're in as decent shape as they could be. Get a super chat from Jordan Kapler. If 1 jar of pickles means a 2% increase in Tate and JJ playing, how many jars of pickles should Kevin be forced to eat? Well, I think the answer to that is always 50. 50?
Well, forcing Kevin to eat jars of pickles is not something that's ever been done. No. These are choices that he's made.
Yeah.
His idea, remember, these are his ideas. I don't know what Kevin had to say there. Probably nothing that We
Looks
need
like
to repeat.
looks like he says yes.
There you go. 50 jars. Like,
All right.
over the course of a season, that would be a nice target.
Listen, get those medicinal pickles. We saw billboards for medicinal pickles as we crossed the state line coming up here. So there you go.
Also, my band name.
What's the deal with Tony's medicinal pickles?
No.
Okay.
Um,
Can we talk about the Ohio State offensive line a little more? Because
sure.
I think we have seen them run the ball so much better the last couple of weeks, and that's maybe the thing I'm most interested in terms of moving forward. How is Ohio State able to run the ball against Michigan? Because we have seen them run the ball so well the last couple of weeks against UCLA and Rutgers. This has coincided with them playing two of the worst run defenses on their schedule. So
bad.
Bad. And it feels like they've maybe coalesced around some different concepts in the run game. It feels like maybe some of the players on the line are playing better right now. That's all encouraging. But how much of it is that stuff and how much of it is, I think I could probably run for at least 3 yards a carry against Rutgers.
Well, and because that's the questions that I had for the Buckeyes, offensive lineman Carson Hinsman, tight end Will Kazmarek, and they said they see it in practice, that it's not just the opponents. And again, the two worst run defenses that we've seen this year have been, I think, the last 2 weeks. Just the inability to maintain leverage, to not give up wide open holes. But also, we are seeing stuff from the running backs that you've not seen this year. You're seeing cutbacks from Bo Jackson. You're seeing him keep his head up. You're seeing that vision. James Peoples getting to the outside. You're seeing that explosion that we have talked about in the past. C.J. Donaldson is just, he's missed a game, and he's just kind of let everything happen around him, let the young pups get some experience, and I think that's been very, very beneficial. So when I look at this offensive line, yes, bad defenses, but this is also better than the running backs have done all season long. All of them consistently finding yards, making people miss is not something that they did early in the season. You're seeing Bo Jackson run over people. He hit his ball, and he's back out of it, I believe. And James Peoples has been playing so well that Isaiah West's carries have gone down.
Yeah.
So I think these are all very good things that you've got guys that's like, I need to get him in now. That's a much better situation than early in the season. It's like, I guess we'll try him.
Right. Yeah, it does feel like they're finding more answers rather than sort of theories or questions right now, which is a positive for sure. I'm wondering how much C.J. Donaldson we see on Saturday, because man, oh man, in my head, how many times have we talked about what they can do in the passing game will be determined by how well they can protect Julian Sayin. And C.J. Donaldson seems like he is the best in terms of pass pro in general, blitz pickup in specific. Wink Martindale is going to be bringing pressure, especially if he sees, hey, the secondary can't hold up. We can't do it this way. We're going to have to do it that way. This feels like you could have a game where C.J. Donaldson's on the field for 25 snaps and has 5 carries. This could be like a real low-key C.J. Donaldson game that doesn't actually show up on the stat sheet as a C.J. Donaldson game.
Yeah, stepping up against the linebacker blitzes of Jimmy Rolder, Cole Sullivan, maybe Ernest Hausman, just being that guy that sees it coming and can step in and not just get run over.
Mm-hmm.
That's, when you see freshmen do that, it's kind of expected. You don't necessarily want to put them in that role. I think we could also see some of the freshmen and James Peoples as well used in the passing game, use those running backs in the passing game, easy yards out wide, but also those dump offs over the middle that are like the fourth read, and it's 13, 14, 15 yards, and it's a first down, moves the change, you start all over again, and it's got to be so frustrating for a defense to defend the receivers, to defend the tight end, and then it's stinking running back just wide open over the middle, just get it dumped off, and then he takes off upfield, because that's one of the things that Bo Jackson does so well. Is just, I get the ball, I go upfield as a receiver, and he's done that whether it's on the sideline, whether it's up the middle. He's done a very good job of that this year.
Yeah, to have, okay, you've got Jeremiah Smith covered. All right, you got Colonel Tate covered. All right, you got Brandon Innes covered. All right, you got Max Clare covered. All right, they didn't run the ball. Great. first down. Like what? that is definitely a difficult spot to be in. To have to try to do that, to cover all those different sort of pieces.
All right, we're gonna have to move over.
Okay.
The buses are gonna be coming in, and they're gonna be rolling right through here. So
okay, so the players are gonna be walking through here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna just here. You pick up the thing, and you carry that over there. I will move the bag. And
bear with us here
Yes.
a moment as we head this way. Here, we try to get out of the way. Can we be in this alcove here? Yeah. Let's see the rest of the media here. We're getting ready to. All right, Tom's setting up the lights. We need the lights. Can't operate without the lights. We're here just trying to get set up as we wait the buses. So I could actually read a super chat. I'm so close to the phone right now. All right, I'm going to set this down. I don't know. Okay, there's the broken. Get it.
Mr. Microphone.
There we go. Look at that. Very easy peasy. All right.
All right. The
I am
fact
back.
that we have a gotta fix our
Bright light.
all right. There we go. Close enough.
Close enough.
So the fact that we are moving around for the team is probably a good indication that
They're
the
on
team
their
is
way.
coming. Yes, we were told an ETA of 6:10, and then we were told running early. So we'll see where they when they pop in. Super chat from user string of numbers. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you very much. Always appreciate you showing up.
So we were talking about the running game, running backs. Yeah, I think this is an Ohio State offense that has. I think this goes to the idea that Ohio State has more potential paths to victory than Michigan does. Ohio State has more ways they can beat you. You know, Michigan's offense feels like if they can run the ball, great, that solves their problem. If they can throw the ball to Andrew Marsh, great, that solves their problem. Maybe hit one to Donovan McCulley, maybe
Right.
Samaj Morgan, whatever. But you know, it feels like really run the ball, throw to Andrew Marsh. Maybe Bryce Underwood can run some QB draw kind of stuff. That's kind of it. And you might need to force some turnovers, get some short fields, whatever. For Ohio State, there's just so many more ways they could potentially. It doesn't mean they're going to be able to run the ball and also throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith and also throw the ball to Cardinal Tate and also throw the ball to Max Blair. But they have they have more guys that you look at and go, yeah, that guy could have 100 yards rushing / receiving. It just feels like the number for Michigan is like 2, and the number for Ohio State's like 4. And that to me is in and of itself a little bit of a telling stat. Super Chat from Ryan Dawes, new national award idea, best named college football player. This year's winner, Rocky Beers, Colorado State tight end.
I saw a decommitment and a flip yesterday or the day before from somebody whose nickname is Purgatory. So it's interesting that that feels like a guy who's going to end up in the transfer portal and just stay there.
That feels like that's a decommitment, not a flip. That's just a straight decommitment.
And I wish I could remember the rest of his name because it's just as good. So look up like a Purgatory decommitment, and there's candidate for 2026, I believe.
I think Spurgeon had something to write about that at one point in history. Super chat from RK Mangoes says, "Go blue, go blow." I don't think they meant the first part of that. That's my clues from context.
Back to the ways that these teams can score. When you talk about Michigan's offense and we talk about Ohio State running nickel, I wonder how much nickel there will be outside of third and long, because how much third receiver is Michigan going to play in this one when their third receiver is Samaj Morgan, who didn't play last week and whose effectiveness is in doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen Channing Goodwin at times. He could. We've also seen Andrew Marsh in the slot a little bit this most recent game. So I wonder if maybe that's a way to get Andrew Marsh away from Jermaine Matthews. Dave Snigmanosin is run him out of the slot against either a banged up Lorenzo Styles Jr. or a redshirt freshman Bryce West, who has not had a ton of experience. If you're looking for maybe the best way to find an advantage for Michigan, maybe it's that.
Yeah, and then the interesting question is, okay, if you do that a snap or two, sure, you figure it out. If he starts operating exclusively out of the slot, I do wonder at what point Ohio State looks and goes, well, all right, you're going to kick Jermaine Matthews inside if and when he's in that spot. Because there isn't really a third receiver on this team that scares you. We've seen Samaj Morgan be that third guy a bunch, but he's been inconsistent. He is the guy this year that I'm like, I hope he doesn't name search on Twitter after games, because Michigan fans have said some very unkind things about him. And he's had drops, and he's had fumbles, and he's had issues over the course of the year. But if it's not Samaj Morgan, there's not a third receiver outside of Marsh and McCulley that you look at and go, oh boy, you really got to watch out for him. I think Ohio State, I think the Marsh thing inside, situationally, sure, but I think that's kind of that's like, well, we're just going to run the quarterback, and it's like that doesn't, it's like Riley Leonard for Notre Dame in the national championship game last year. Like, well, if he could just run the ball 50 more times like that, it's like, no, if he did that, he would be dead, and also Ohio State would adjust to it. And Matt Patricia, that might be, you see that on the first drive, and they go down and score, and everyone goes and then Ohio State adjusts, and then it doesn't work anymore.
We talk about Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, but seeing the health of Lorenzo Styles and how long he can stay healthy will be interesting. That's a key guy for Ohio State in a defense that is loaded with guys that we talk about. We don't talk about him nearly enough, and he's been one of their best players. They've had like 14 best players. He's one of their 14 best players because they're all very, very good.
Yeah, super chat that says "Hail to the cheaters" is greater than "Hail to the victors." Yeah, it's I'm kind of looking forward to that not being a topic of around this game one way or the other. You had 2023, obviously that was like the topic. 2024, it was like, okay, well, let's see what they can do without. And then it's kind of like this year, like, all right, now we're kind of, everyone's through that, and the whole situation has been resolved, and everyone's pretending that they were right about everything the whole time, but it's like it's done. So now we can just watch the football game and watch them play football and not have it be about all the off-field stuff.
Well, I mean, you need something to happen for that to happen, and you need an Ohio State win.
Well,
so that you can start to move beyond that.
Well, but I mean, if there's not an Ohio State win, that's still like that has nothing to do with.
Well, it has something to do with the streak. And
that's
what I'm saying. You've got to get away from that. So get away from the streak, and then you can get away from the cheating aspect of things.
All right. So Ohio State fans, therefore, should be rooting for this so we can move past that. So
that's what I'm saying.
Now, finally, Ohio State fans have a rooting interest in this game. Cheese sticks are a delicacy. Says, could you eat 50 cheese sticks in 15 minutes?
No.
Well, the 50 cheese sticks is. You eat like 2 cheese sticks. It's like, all right, that's probably enough cheese sticks. And
now, 50 cheese curds in 15 minutes, probably.
Probably.
I mean, isn't that like just a large order, probably?
50?
Yeah.
That's probably like
a large
3 large orders?
No, I don't think so.
That's a. It
depends on where you go.
That's a future Wisconsin trip. That's not a Michigan trip question. Yeah, 50.
I think that's a small one, Wisconsin.
50. Well. We can read the Wisconsin life expectancy stats, and between the brandy and the cheese curds, it's probably a little bit of a why there. So we are now probably, I'm guessing, 10-ish minutes from the team arrival. All the local TV folks are now up and running as well.
Staffers are a flutter.
Yes, the doors to the hotel are open. So now we're getting a little closer. Just so you guys know what to expect when the team gets here, I'm going to take off my microphone and hand it to Tony, and then Tony is going to take the phone off the tripod, and you will probably have a little bit of fumbling around. He may have to turn the phone towards Ryan Day. I'm not sure.
I could probably punch in there.
Yeah,
I'd have to take my gloves off.
Yeah, well,
and my extra gloves.
You had an extra pair of gloves. So he's going to take the microphones, take the phone. He's going to go get that. I will go record separately, and so that we will have a clip of this that they can use later. Because good news, we are planning on running this show long.
Yeah.
Like we're going to finish up here. We're going to hand it off to Kevin and Chuck. They're going to go for a while, and then Tony and I, when we get back to the hotel and thaw our toes out for a little while, we'll be back on later. So this is going to be an extended live show.
Buckle in.
Yes, but buckle in. Put on an extra pot of coffee. We'll be on a while because we're guessing you guys have some questions and want to talk about various stuff.
Right, and we'll get to a bunch of questions. Chuck and Kevin will get to a bunch of questions as well, and we'll get to one. I will say, when the buses do get here, just realize we've got good Wi-Fi right now. Not on wood. The further we get away from the hotel, the Wi-Fi could drop off at any moment. It's like unknown waters out there. So just realize that if it gets a little spotty, it's not my fault. It's not Tom's fault. It's not Kevin. It's not Kevin's fault.
Well,
it's not Kevin's fault. We told him no strays. No, we didn't.
No one promised him no strays. Yeah, it does on the pavement right over there. It just says "Here be monsters." So I'm sure that's a good sign. Ross wants to know predictions from the final score tomorrow.
I have sent mine in.
Yeah, well, it's been posted. Don't worry.
All right. So I went 27-17, Ohio State, thinking there's a late Michigan touchdown. Mm-hmm. And I think Ohio State is up and comfortable enough to where they're not dying for more, and they're willing to just limit Michigan's offense, and then Michigan gets a late score to make it a 10-point game rather than a comfortable 2-score game, 3-score game throughout much of the game.
Yeah, I went Ohio State 27, Michigan 13. I love this is another classic example of we talk enough about these games that we end up coalescing around the same basic score. The same thought. Ohio State potentially gets off. Ohio State, if they can just get off to a good start, they can potentially pull away and not turn this into a blowout, but turn this into a game where you're not sweating every second of the fourth quarter. I think my biggest question is Michigan getting to 13, Michigan getting to 17. That feels like that would be a pretty good outcome for their offense, where if they're going to get more than that, it probably has to come from defensive score, special team score.
Yeah, I feel like 1 score or less is more likely than 24 for Michigan's offense. So, we both have them scoring 3 times.
Yeah.
And that's in 9 possessions. So, you better make the most of those. And I feel like you're asking a lot to score 5 times in those 9 possessions to win, whether they're not all going to be touchdowns, but 21 and 2 field goals is basically where we've got them, got Ohio State with. So you'd have to match that. And it's a tough ask, assuming Ohio State does what we think they're going to do.
Yeah. And to me, this game, the biggest matchup of this game, outside of just win the trenches, which is sort of we don't need to say that because that's the answer all the time. The biggest matchup of this game is Matt Patricia and Bryce Underwood. And what does Matt Patricia throw at a freshman quarterback? And how can Michigan and offensive coordinator Chip Lindsey come up with ways to keep things potentially simple for him? Because this is going to be a game where things are going fast. This is going to be a game where he's never been part of this game before. And he is a true freshman, so he has not had that extra spring, that extra summer, that extra season that Julian Sain has had. I think there's going to be a lot that Bryce Underwood sees on Saturday that he's never seen before, or not seen on any kind of a regular basis. Or he's going to see one thing and go, "Oh, I know what this is. Okay, I have the answers to the test." And then Tony, just when he has the answers, what is Matt Patricia going to do?
He's going to change the questions. So I do think a lot of quick throws, quick screens, half-field reads on the rollouts. You don't have to worry about the left side of the field. Just worry about the right side. Flood the field. Easy reads. 1-2 run. That sort of thing. Also, 1-2 run. Get down. Get out of bounds. Don't take any unnecessary hits, which is one of his – he's not great at it.
Yeah.
But he's a big kid, so he can take some hits. But then he's like, I'm a big kid. I can take some hits. And he takes some hits.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to do what you got to do to win this game.
Right.
Save those for the fourth quarter maybe instead of the first quarter. But
well, and this is one of these things that if you've listened to our Michigan Monday shows all year long, that's been like almost since week 1. You got to stop taking hits because you're a big player. He's a big dude. He's a strong kid. But you're going to get – at some point, you're going to get a hit that you're not going to be able to get up from immediately. And that has been a concern with me with him all year because he'll do it. It's like if it's 4th and 2 in the fourth quarter, yeah, man, you got to get what you get. If you got to try and run through Arval Reese at that point, like, go with God. But if it's the first quarter or it's 2nd and 7, something like that, then you got to kind of choose your battles. We hear sirens. Ohio State is here, so we are going to execute the game plan and see how it goes.
We will see. We're going to find out together.
Stand by.
So bear with us as we get ready for this. And thank you all for hanging out with us and hanging in with us as I grab this. Try to make sure I've got everything. I'm going to flip this camera around, hopefully. And let's do that. There we are. We are live, looking forward, looking back. Hopefully I don't drop the phone with my cold hands. As we move around here with the scrum. See the sirens over there. They're coming that way. The buses will come this way.
Like heavy snow. Right now, it looks like it's not going to arrive until 3rd or 4th.
Tim, you're live to May. Live.
How you doing?
Good. I'm fine.
All right, Kellyanne, maybe it was maybe it actually was a present. Because no, here we go. All right,
Here's buses.
You
guys were going to abandon our plan and just come flying down here.
Yeah.
See the buses out there. The police escort, which is always good, unless it is bad. Ryan, they'll be in that first bus coming around. Usually the first person off. We'll grab him. He'll answer some questions. Or rather, he'll be asked some questions. He may answer some of them. He may choose not to.
All right, I'm going to start pushing my way to the front of the media scrum here.
Make way for TV people.
Hey, Joe. Get a quick word with Ryan Day when he gets off the bus. The Ohio State Buckeyes officially arrived and hit the curve. The bus has hit the curve. You heard that. Yeah. Honestly. Here we go, Ryan. Head coach of the Buckeyes is going to step off to the side here, so we can get a quick word with him. Live on the 86 YouTube channel.
Ryan, are Jeremiah and Cornell here? Are they good to go?
They are on the trip and looking for a good night of preparation. Just flew in. It was a great flight and looking forward to having a great preparation tonight. We'll continue to do that all the way to kickoff. But
Coach,
they're here, excited.
How do you think your team prepared for this test?
Well, very similar to how we have all year. A little extra focus, just a different look in their eye this week, and so want to continue that tonight. And then, wake up in the morning with great energy and go get a win.
I know it's early. I know it's an early lights out for you on these noon games. How do you guys actually sleep on a night like this before a game like this?
Well, it's funny, it's just that's why you try to get sleep early in the week because it's a little bit harder for a game like this for sure. But we'll do the same routine and make sure you have a great meal. We'll do bed check and get to bed early.
You talk about playing with emotion, but not unless like emotion play with you. How do you slowly let that balance out here as you ramp up and get closer to kickoff?
Well, you just keep talking to the guys about it, playing when they get on the field, and what that comes with it. Just been talking to it all talking about it every day, all week, about what that looks like and the focus that needs to happen in this game. And we all have to do our job. That's really what it comes down to. Any type of mission, everybody has a job they have to do, and they have to execute to get on the field.
Right.
So, that's been it. That's going to be it. That's the way to kick off.
You feel like you have a good handle on what kind of weather conditions you're going to face, or you just have to kind of roll with the punches tomorrow?
Yeah, I think kind of like this. Some snow later in the game, but no, it's the same for both teams. And I can't wait for it.
You got feet on the ground now inside the stadium. What is it like to be here and the excitement as we approach this?
There's a good bounce in everybody's step right now. So, just focus on tonight, having a good meal, and see what the guys locked in. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. That's Ryan.
There goes Ryan Day off the bus. And
15 home trains tomorrow in Milton.
there's Tom Moore in my shot. It's right there. All right, we are working our way back over. Yep, we're live, bud. Sorry.
All of you. I just want to say, I actually really enjoy you guys' talk too. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, we get it. The public loves us, and sometimes they grab us and want to tell us how much they love us. We do thank them. So let's try the.
Hey, that looks like us.
All right.
Uh-oh. Ah.
Hit the button. Sorry about that.
All right.
At the top. Ooh.
Let's see if we can got it.
There we go.
Good.
Good-ish. All right, lock it in.
All right. That looks about like. All right. Close enough.
All
right.
Welcome back.
From all indications, I think the internet held up okay.
Yeah, look good as
Okay.
far as I could tell. I think
Okay.
I had Mike right there, so
Good.
hopefully everybody got to hear Ryan Day's words.
Yes, and I will send Kevin the raw video of that I got, which maybe better for later. We'll see. But yeah, that was quick conversation with Ryan Day. I think the first question is obviously the one that everyone's going to want to know about, with the status of Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Ryan Day.
They're here.
As he has been doing so well throughout the course of the week, answering the question, but without answering the question everyone really wants the answer to.
Yes, they are here, and they're going to have a good night of preparation, and we'll see how tomorrow goes. So, to answer the question on the board, do we see JJ?
So we were not over where. Now I have a camera set up over there that recorded everyone walking in. So you will at some point later. I will share that video with Kevin. Right now we're doing this, but I'll get that edited and sent to Kevin, and Kevin can put that up, and you guys can do your own video dissection of everyone. It's set up.
Tommy Togiai.
It is Tommy Togiai. What is he doing here? Yeah, we have a video set up where it'll be everyone walking right past you. The lighting looked as okay as I think it could be given the circumstances. So I'll send that to Kevin before we wrap up out of here, just so people sort of know what the game plan is for tonight. Tony and I, now that the team's here, we'll probably take you another 10, 15 minutes or so, and then we will wrap it up. We're going to hand it over to Kevin and Chuck, who will take you for an hour or so, and then Tony and I will get back to the hotel, and then we can kind of take the baton there again. Some combination of us after that, but we are planning to be here with you. We are here to help you work your way through the emotions of the 18 hours to kickoff of Ohio State and Michigan.
And once we do get back to the hotel and we're back on, the show is on you people. Like I'm done thinking. Like you ask questions, I'm done with coming up with stuff to talk about. We've been doing it all week. I'm done. This is on you people. This is your show. This is always your show now, but just be prepared. I might sit there and say nothing if nobody's got anything to say.
I was not expecting you to cut a you people promo on the audience, but here we are. Tony Gerdman, heel turn. Wow. Can't believe it.
That's right. It's Friday. Tomorrow is the game. I'm ready to be there. I'm ready to certainly talk about it. It's the best thing every year. We look forward to it every year. I almost said way too much time on this every year.
We do. Objectively, we spend way too much time on this every year. Yes.
More time than anybody else in this business.
Probably.
So it's like, I mean, you think Santa Claus doesn't get geared up for Christmas? Like that's the day, that's his big day. This is our big day. But looking forward to it certainly. And again, if I'm short with people on Friday, forgive me, okay?
So where were we before the team pulled in? Were we talking? We get finished running backs. We
probably talking about Bryce Underwood, maybe. We can talk about Bryce Underwood.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit about Bryce Underwood because true freshman quarterback, very talented. I have been trying to come up with what is the Ohio State comp for Bryce Underwood, because he's not Braxton Miller level agile, but he's a better thrower than Braxton Miller. He's a better thrower than Terrell Pryor, but he's not necessarily quite the runner that Pryor was.
CJ Stroud against Georgia is like he ran well. I think that's in the range of Bryce Underwood
In terms of running,
No, you're just running. No, yeah, I'm sorry. I was certainly talking about the running portion of that. As a passer, I mean, every year at Ohio State, they would, under Jim Tressel, their guys would be like near the pass efficiency leaders because they're very conservative and it's there's not a lot of 49% completion games until like November. But in terms of a passer, I don't know. They've been a lot. There's been a lot of average to above average passers in Ohio State history.
right? It's and Bryce Underwood is the very talented guy who is still mechanically a little like he'll make throws that you're going to look and just go, that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And if you get pressure in his face, he will not step into a throw, and you'll see that the shoulder will dip and the ball will kind of sail on him. We've seen that a bunch this year where that's something that he got away with the one against Maryland last week. He can't do that against Ohio State because if it's, Maryland does not have Caleb Downs back there. If Caleb Downs is back there, Caleb Downs is not going to drop the possible pick six interception. If Ohio State gets pressure on Bryce Underwood, we'll see how he handles it, because sometimes it's been good, and sometimes you can see, you can see with a young player, you can see the game is moving a little too fast. As with all young players, the game is slowing down for Bryce Underwood. You can see the game is slowing down for Bryce Underwood, but you can also see every once in a while it's like he doesn't know what, he's got the ball and he's going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And if Ohio State can get him to do that a few times, that could really swing the game.
I think pressure him early. That way he feels it more often then, and like right away pressure him. I think we've seen Patricia do this before where there's a lot of pressure in the first quarter, then they lay back in the second, and then the quarterback's like waiting for it, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Then they start to maybe get a little comfortable. Then third quarter, they
Jump scare.
Yeah, they come at him again. I could see something like that. I just think we were talking before where a lot of short passes, half-field reads, these are things that they can do to combat that. But Ohio State is also pretty darn good against screens. Mm-hmm. When you've got Caleb Downs, the king of basically blowing screens up, and he's going to be reading that and seeing it, you almost have to do some double moves, some pump and go, that sort of thing, because Ohio State's going to be waiting for some quick throws.
Oh, yeah.
Quick screens, so maybe you play off of that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we know that that's going to be the game plan, Ohio State presumably also knows that's going to be the game plan. So this is where you get into the chess match of, well, I know what you want to do, and then I know what I would want to do, but you know that I know, and you get into that whole thing where, that's where you have the, you screen and go, or you pump one way, you go the other, whatever it is, your double moves, whatever it is, and Michigan is going to at some point have to set up max protect and they're going to have to stretch the field. They cannot just live in the short and intermediate game. They're going to have to stretch the field at some point, because Ohio State can start creeping their safeties up and not worrying about things. Michigan is going to run into a numbers problem pretty quickly.
And Ohio State will feel pretty good about one-on-one coverage down the field, and if they do get handsy, that's 15 yards instead of 50. So that's something that you'll accept. So I think Ohio State likes their matchup in the passing game. They do understand that Andrew Marsh is not your typical freshman, but it will be interesting to see how they attack him with Jermaine Matthews, with Davis Nigmanos. Do they get physical with him? Do they try to get him off of his game? But it's all going to start with that pressure up front, maybe some pressure up the middle. Caden McDonald, if they're talking about caging the quarterback, then you pressure him up the middle. You can see some blitzes up the middle that will then send Bryce Underwood into Arvell Reese or into Kenyatta Jackson, who will be like, you'll see times where they're just like, okay,
yeah,
they're waiting, waiting for a rebound to come down. They're just waiting for the quarterback to come to him, like almost playing a little patty cake with the right tackle, left tackle, waiting for Underwood to either come to them or just keep him in the pocket.
Well, and you mentioned Caden McDonald there, and I don't know if his name came up on the first 45 minutes or so of this show. He might be one of the most impactful players in this game because Michigan runs a zone scheme a lot, and if you can get pressure in the middle of the defensive line, your defensive line can get pressure in the middle, that can really screw things up and sort of the zone tracks and guys not being able to get double teams on all that stuff. Caden McDonald is, of all the defensive tackles in this game, the one guy that I look at and go, he can have 4 tackles for loss. I mean, I'm not expecting him to have 4 tackles for loss, but last year with Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, you thought like, yeah, man, you tell me, and I could go, yeah, I could see that. This year, that feels like that's Caden McDonald, where Michigan, the Ohio State, Edric Houston, because they're Taiwan Malone, and even Will Smith, like those guys, yeah, they're good, solid players. Michigan's guys, good, solid players. Caden McDonald's the one that I look at and go, he might be the one who's getting talked to by Jenny Taft or whoever on the field after the game. It's gonna let's be grown-ups. It's TV. It's gonna be Julian Sayin and Brian Tate if Ohio State wins. Okay, but it should potentially be Caden McDonald, and Caden McDonald might be one of the people we get to talk to after the game because he could have the Caden Curry's game at Washington. That could be the Caden McDonald game tomorrow because the interior of Michigan's offensive line is good, but not incredible. So
certainly not better than last year. And they've got guys who they rotate 4 guys, 2 guys who have started every game this year. Then they'll rotate in 2 guys as well. And they're all big, but there's not much pass rush. There's not much penetration there from any of those 4.
Well, speaking of guys, our good friend Kevin Noon is here. He's going to be joined by Juck very shortly. We are going to toss it back to him now. And then we will be back there later. We'll send him some of the video we got here. So we'll
and we will let people know. Yeah. Kevin did tell us on the drive here. I have not been able to share my thoughts. So I've got plenty of thoughts for Michigan. Mm-hmm. Kevin, this is a Buckeye Weekly, so please keep it relatively clean. Mm-hmm. We would appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And
if you can get some extraneous noise in the room, like just start some maintenance maybe next door, or the room next door, or something like that. I don't know.
Housekeeping, just let them come in and do what they need to do. So that will do it from here, and we will send it back to you, Kevin. Thank you for taking this next leg.
Hell damn crap. Okay, there we go. I've already said the words I need to say just to make sure that we get demonetized. But thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tony. Safe travels back here to the hotel. I am sitting here in Livonia, Michigan at our hotel, and Juck should be joining us here shortly. And we will talk for the next hour plus while we wait for Tom and Tony to get back about the game that is coming up. So go easy on me until I have Juck here as a co-host, since I am doing it all on my own. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Sunny D Vodka Seltzer. It's Friday, ladies. It's Friday. It's time to have a little bit of fun, talk a little bit about the game, and I've saved some questions. I want to save a lot of these for when Juck arrives. People were saying glad to see me. Yeah, I'm glad to see y'all too. I'm glad to be back out on the road on this one. It is cold. It is cold outside. I was not standing outside with Tom and Tony. I'm sure I will hear about how cold it is, and I will be quick to remind them that they decided to leave me at the hotel like a dog. So there you go. But seen a lot of interesting questions in the queue so far, and that has been fun to go through. I'm making sure I'm going to send the link to this to Juck just to make sure he joins us. I mean, he's only 1 minute late, so let's not act like he was like running significantly late or anything like that. I'm sure he has it. I don't even know what I'm looking for at this point. Well, he'll show up when he shows up. So let's get to it. What are your thoughts about this game? What is the one thing that Ohio State needs to do to win this game? And it's more than just saying, well, they need to outscore them. Well, yeah, obviously they have to outscore them. But what is the most important thing that they need to do? I mean, honestly, I think that they need to remember that they can't win this as a knife fight in a coffin. They can't try to sit there and run, run a gap over and over and over and over and over again. That's just not going to fly. That's just not going to work. They need to be able to have a little bit more of an outside threat. They can't just sit there and pass it outside the numbers, just, with basically the extension of their running game. That does not work. Wink Martindale's system works too well for that. Juck needs to have the link. So let me find this as I'm talking. So bear with me here as I open up a second, browser. Let me go to our program that we are using here. We are live. Let me do this. Invite guests, copy link. Let me go to my email. I have emailing it to you now. I have his special secret email that I cannot share with y'all. All right, let's just do this. Boom, link, boom. All right, there we go. Juck should be with us here momentarily. He is always very punctual. I was not concerned that I was going to have to do the show by myself, mind you, but it always helps. Super chat here from Ryan Dawes. Stop Marshall and make Underwood miserable on D. On O, take shots deep and don't run stretch to the boundary. We all love talking about stretch to the boundary. That just always seems to work so well. We've seen that work with zero success. I agree with stop Marshall. I mean, what is Jordan Marshall's status? I mean, obviously, I've not seen him listed on any injury reports. It looked like it was somewhat of a significant shoulder injury. So is this going to be a case of like a couple years ago when they had Blake Corum play for like 3 plays and he wasn't able to go? Ohio State was banged up in that game as well. Or will he be able to go? With Underwood, you've got to find a happy medium of where you can contain him versus where you can get after him. He's still not a very accurate passer. I think, to my point, I just want to make sure that he doesn't get out there and beat me with his legs. I would rather, granted, there'll be people who say, well, Davis Warren was able to have his way. I mean, okay. I'm not a loss denier. And Juck's popping up here in a second. I'm going to wait until he gives me a thumbs up from his side, and I do. So let's bring Juck in. Hey, Juck, welcome to the show.
Nooner, what's up, buddy?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, good to see you.
As I said, this part of the show is brought to you by Sunny D Vodka Seltzers. It's Friday night, ladies. Let's go for it.
Yeah, buddy. Diet Pepsi on this end, but we're still ready to roll, brother. I see you got the lights down low. Let's party.
Well, hotel rooms are not known for great lighting, and this sad desk light that they have, I've got like propped up. Legitimately, I'm doing some in the field engineering to have any light in this room.
Yeah. Been there, my man. So I've been watching Tom and Tony. They look really nice and chilly. At least you and I are warm. How you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling pretty good. We do have the Ryan Day sound that we can go back to later, a clean recorded version of it. But we got a lot of questions that I've already kind of been starring. I mean, I'm sure you've got your thoughts. I've got my thoughts. I've kind of held all of my thoughts until this show, knowing that I was going to be on for 60, 90, 120 minutes. I didn't want to dilute all of my thoughts or whatever. But the question I asked our viewers, what is the one thing more, and don't be as simplistic as saying, we'll score more points, outscore them. What is the one thing Ohio State has to do to ensure victory in this game?
To ensure victory, I think that this really needs to be one with the defense. And I think that the only way Michigan can win this game is if they are good on third down. And I think that the way they can be best on third down and really be annoying and obnoxious is if they get those third downs with Bryce Underwood running and picking up third downs, those extend drives when otherwise you would have had him, pegged down, but he just picks them up with his feet. And I think that can be canceled out with Darvell spying. One of the questions I have is, are we going to see them come out with him as a dedicated spy early on, like we saw against Washington with Damon Williams? And then when he quickly kind of showed Washington and DeMond that if they cage you, you're not going to be able to get away from Marvell. He's going to be able to shut you down. And then they went away from it as Washington kind of realized, all right, we're not going to be able to do this. And in the second half, there wasn't much of that at all. But do they come out with that look? And if they do they have to stay with that look all day? But that to me is if you can keep them under 33% conversion on third down, it's curtains. They can't score. And right now I'm just looking, and I had to do some digging, Kevin. You know, we're in the state of Ohio. Actually, I probably should have called you. We don't have player prop bets, and I wanted to see the player prop bets for rushing totals and such. You got them? Okay.
Well, I don't have them up, but while you talk,
I got Bryce's. Yeah, it's 16.5 is the rushing yards for Bryce, which was surprising. I thought it would be more than that, but they're clearly thinking that Arvell is definitely going to have his say regarding Bryce rushing, because 16.5, and they're factoring in the negatives for the sacks in there as well, as the official total factors that in. But 16.5, even assuming you get some negatives in there, like they're not thinking he's going to be able to rush the ball much. And as I'm looking at his stats, like he doesn't run the ball a ton, but this would be the game that I would think, all right, it's everything, ball to the wall. We're pulling out all the stops. If you got an opening, go pick it up, particularly on third down. So being able to stop them, not allowing them to convert on third down, to me is a big key that pops out here for the defense.
Right. I agree. As I'm sitting here looking through and hoping this isn't a state of where you can't do prop bets in state because I know that there are, like, I think Illinois has a rule like that you can't bet on Illinois or Northwestern collegiate prop bets or whatever. I haven't found it yet, but we've got time. We've got time to get to it. We're going to be talking here for a minute. Again, here it is. I'm sitting here in the dark, so that's just not the greatest situation. Popular passing props or whatever. Let me see this. Julian's saying 237.5 passing.
Okay, 237. I got to take the over on that one. I like the over on that one.
I tend to think so too. I mean, unless storms move in like 12 hours sooner than they're supposed to, I really like the over in that one. I'm looking through FanDuel, just because I'm sure there's somebody sitting there like, that's not the number I've got. Well, different books are going to have different numbers. So I'm looking through FanDuel right now. And then on the other side, Bryce Underwood, 154.5.
154.5. Gosh. Man, they are, if that's 154.5 in his rushing total, if I was right about that, 16.5, they are really expecting the Buckeyes defense to show out, man, because that's pretty doggone low.
Right.
The way I see this playing out perfectly for Ohio State has him going under that, but man, that would be a perfect scenario. I think I would probably go over that. I just got a feeling that him and Marsh are kind of going to get theirs. Like they're kind of going to get theirs, and I'm already braced to be okay with that. It's just a pretty low total. I mean, that's kind of easy.
That leads into, because I'm in the passing props right now.
Yeah.
Total touchdowns, 0.5 for Mr. Underwood.
0.5 total. Wow.
Yes, 0.5. And just to throw it in there to percolate a little bit, 1.5 for Julian.
1.5 for Julian, and that's probably minus money.
Yeah, the over on the 1.5 is minus 122.
Okay, yeah.
The over on 0.5 for Underwood is minus 140.
Okay, so they're probably expecting it, but they're expecting like 0.75 for Bryce. So, yeah, man, I would go over on both of those guys for that one, I think. But
all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So my score prediction here was originally I was thinking earlier in the week, I was saying, all right, I think Ohio State's going to get this one and get it good. And I'm thinking 34-14. But as as time's gone on, I've kind of lowered my expectations for the amount of
You get
points.
closer to the game, and you
Yeah.
you get a little tighter.
So I've gone more to like 28-10, I think is more what I'm thinking here. So with that said, I think, Julian goes over that 1.5 and Bryce gets that one touchdown.
I wrote my prediction like on Wednesday, and somehow somebody going in and putting it in, it got blown out of the system. I had 37-14 Ohio State, and I think that I'm probably I've worked my way down to I think I'm probably like 31-10 right now. And of course, there are going to be people like, well, let's see it. Let's see your bet slip that where you got it. I do have a little 3-team parlay. I hit my Ole Miss this morning. I hit Ole Miss early.
Okay.
I've got Texas and 2.5, which is the one I feel least comfortable about. And then I've got Ohio State giving 10.
I like your Texas bet. I'm ready for that one tonight.
I am too. Here, the odds makers, I've moved to receiving props. And the odds makers, and let's talk the Ohio State side. Jeremiah, 80.5 yards.
80. Does it have receptions in there too?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That'll be in the next. That'll be the next column.
Yeah. So I have got to go over that 80. I think that if, let's say, for instance, a lot of this is me factoring in my feeling that Jeremiah is closer to 100%. I guess I don't really have much to base that on, because to me, this whole thing with these receivers, I guess we could go here. Like, my thought has been that there was a huge amount of extra precaution taken on Carnell. Just like, okay, yeah, you could have gone 2 weeks ago, but we're just going to shut it down until Michigan. And there's so much less known, I feel like, with the Carnell situation, that I could be totally wrong about that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I could be way off, but I think that's what's going on. In Jeremiah, whatever injury he had going into the UCLA game was not made worse. Ryan Day that's what he said. He was asked, did anything happen today to make the injury worse? He said no. And that was after he played that first half at UCLA, and he came out of that game. And that's when we saw that pronounced limp on the sidelines and walking up the tunnel, which means, if we're to believe him, take his word at face value, that whatever he had wrong with him was something that was already wrong heading into that first half that he played in the UCLA game. And it was something that could not be made worse by playing. And he has now had a couple of weeks to let that rest. So I think Jeremiah, his performance in that UCLA game was close to 100%. I think we're going to get 100% of Jeremiah in this game. So because of that, and because I don't feel quite as confident about Carnell, I guess, a little bit less known, I would say that I'm going to go with Jeremiah is going to be more the focal point here. And I'm going to say, if that's the case, definitely I'm going over that 80 yards.
And then just to follow up, Carnell Tate, 67.5. And both of these are minus 114.
So pretty even. I'm going to take the under on the Carnell one, because I feel like, and again, this is just my speculation here, I feel like maybe we see Carnell play a little less, a little more caution used with Carnell, particularly if you get the lead early on. And I think Ohio State is going to get the lead early and it just to keep extending the lead. That's the way I see this playing out. So I think, Carnell is sitting more than Jeremiah in this game, and maybe Max Clare or even a Will Kazmarek is catching up, getting 30 and 40 yards for those tight ends. So I'm going to go under with Carnell.
Do we want to talk about the Michigan receivers, or we just want to stick with Ohio State and go to the total?
Oh, I definitely want to talk about Marsh and McCauley. Yeah.
All right. McCauley, 32.5.
I'm going to go over on McCauley. I'm going to go over on McCauley at 32.5. I think that there's going to be a lot of attention shifted towards Marsh, as we can clearly see that not only is this kid a future star, I mean, he is going to be a dude. And, this is a guy that, And I've seen a lot of Ohio State fans, ragging on him. He couldn't play at Ohio State. Brian Hartline wanted this dude. The recruitment fizzled out kind of fast, as some recruitments do, but he was offered. Hartline saw the talent, and he is showing that talent. This guy is a dude. He's a dude for sure. And Ohio State knows it, and they're going to try to take away that number one option for him. McCauley, not nearly as polished, but he does got that size. And I think that I'm definitely going to take the over for him on that 32.5.
And then for Marsh, 52.5.
Man, that seems pretty light too. I'm going over on both of them.
I mean, if you total those together right there, that's 85 yards between the two of them. And remember that they had 154
150, yeah. So I'm
passing yards.
Who's getting the rest of those yards, Kev?
Right.
Yeah, I'm going over for both of them.
All right. Let's go to player receptions right here. And they're only giving me Ohio State at this point. Jeremiah Smith, 6.5.
Over.
I think
we'll see. I think we'll see a lot of short stuff to JJ, particularly early in the game, to get the feel. And the way I've got this envisioned in my mind is, I guess, and this is kind of wishful thinking as well. So here's my perfect scenario to start this game, Kevin, is it feels to me like there are so many editions of this game that we see both teams come out and immediately they're, like a couple of boxers sizing each other up, and we're going to run on the first couple of possessions and just see how things, get our juices flowing, just get the couple hits in, and you kind of surrender those first couple of possessions, feeling each other out, running the ball into a couple of brick walls. And I don't think that's happening with this Ohio State offense this year. I think that there's going to be a lot of quick passing, quick game, RPO, Julian pulling it and throwing it early on in this game in the first couple of possessions. And I think that Jeremiah is going to rack up maybe even double-digit receptions in this game because of that.
And then Carnell, 4.5. That one I'm feeling, I'm not as confident as well in the durability of Carnell in this game and how far they're going to push him, especially, you're playing the long game here.
Yeah.
If you win, you're playing next week. If you lose, you're not playing until the 20th. But I tend to think that I think they target him 5 or 6 times, but 4.5. I mean,
4 feels like a number to me. I'm with you. I think 4 feels like the number, so I think I'd go under on that.
Here's the ones that I'm most interested in, and I'm going to look at them and talk to you about it. I haven't looked in advance. I'm not jumping off the pages or whatever. The rushing props.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with Jordan Marshall. And again, I haven't been told that he's not going to play. I mean, the injury he took in the Northwestern game did not look like he was going to bounce back immediately. I mean, obviously their number 3 running back, looked pretty good. He looked like a load to be able to bring down. Obviously, they're down Justice Haynes, who's been shut down for the season or whatever. But Jordan Marshall, 83.5.
83.5. What's so difficult is we've only seen Ohio State face a really good running back. It's been since Washington, right? I mean,
right.
And he was able to pop one. You know what I mean? So if Jordan can pop one, and we know if he's healthy, he's going to get his share of carries. And if you get maybe one chunk of 30 in there, in addition to maybe a couple of 10-yarders, I think you're at that number relatively easy just off quantity of carries. I'm going to go over on that one.
I tend to think that he's going to carry the mail. He's going to be the one that's going to keep them in this game or not in this game or whatever. I mean, I'm trying to pull up numbers, keep this up, watch the chat, everything else.
Yeah.
So, Ohio State has not really run into a situation of where anybody has had, any real prolonged success against them. So here we go. Opponents game by games. Ohio State has only given up at least one 30-yard rush. They gave up a 34-yarder at Washington. Nobody else has gone above that. What does it say? 83.5. Ohio State has not given up 83 rushing yards in a game since Purdue, when Purdue had 92. But in 3 of the last 4 games, Ohio State has given up fewer than 83.5 rushing yards. But I will say that Michigan is better at running the ball than UCLA and Rutgers, and strangely enough, Penn State this year. I mean, with all the ballyhoo about Stilton and Allen, I mean, I don't understand that one.
Yeah, man, that is something. Jordan Marshall made some interesting comments the other day, Kev. You know, I was thinking, you put out a little bulletin board material, and that's the last guy I would think would put it out. But I was thinking about this Buckeyes team and this Buckeyes defense versus Buckeye teams in the past. This team feels so old and professional. They feel so much like just like this defensive unit. Like they're just such pros, and they're so everything is just so mechanic, and like it's just like I don't feel the emotion of like something like that's going to get in their head or going to change the way they play. And it's kind of the way I've felt from these guys as they've prepared for this game all week. It just feels so mature. It's so different. And obviously by design with Day, and he talked the other day about, you know, the way they've done it hasn't worked. So they're going about this like, look, we give our best effort and we play our very best game every time we play. There's nothing we're going to say this week that's going to change that. We always play our best. There's no reason to heap all that extra pressure. We understand, obviously, this game means a lot more to a lot of people, but that's not going to change the way we play if we rah, this is so different and it's the biggest thing in the world. And they're trying to just kind of give this approach that they give every week. And with that, I think also that, you know, there's no extra bulletin board material that's going to change the way they think or get in their heads. And I love the approach. Obviously, if it doesn't work, then I'll probably come back and say I hated that approach. But
yes. That's history is revisionist history.
Yeah. But right now, I feel very comfortable with the approach, and I really like the way they've gone about this. And when you listen to guys like Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, who listening to these guys sounds like listening to 2 32-year-old NFL vets. You know,
Guys
it's like
they're on their second contract in the league. I mean, that, you know, already own like, you know, 8 Subway franchises and stuff like that. I mean, you know, already planning for AARP. I mean, you know, that they do have the sound of a veteran.
Yeah, and you listen to those guys, and it's just like, man, there's no it's just such a professional sounding unit. It's all right. We give up a play. Okay. Next play up. Like it's, I don't want to say emotionless, but emotion doesn't get them off their game. We'll put it like that.
All right. So I told you Jordan Marshall. We'll get back to Bryce Underwood in a second. But if I told you, which I have, Jordan Marshall 83.5, what would you say Bo Jackson's number is? I'm going to ask you before I give it to you.
Okay. So if that is Jordan's number, I would say that they would anticipate Bo's would probably have a fewer quantity of carries. So he's definitely going to be less, but I don't think much less. So why don't we go with 78?
Are you a witch? 78.5.
Oh, I'll be damned.
Because you got to have the hook there. You got to have the hook.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to have
the
push there. So are you a witch? I mean, yeah. That's impressive.
Okay, well, I'm sure that'll be the only time that happens. But if Bo's is 78, Cav, I feel like I might take the under on that. I don't know. I just don't know, man. You know, it's like we've had this rotation. If Bo doesn't get it going early, do you go to Isaiah West? Do you go to Jimmy DePeoples?
I think the touchdown vulture CJ Donaldson's going to be in there. I think they trust him not to put the ball on the ground. I mean, obviously,
that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing, Kev, because with the fumble last week, it's just like, okay, are they going to, like, we cannot lose this turnover battle even if if we got to sacrifice the juice of Bo running the ball, we trust Donaldson with the ball in his hands much more. And then again, when we talk about Julian, and maybe another one of the massive keys here that Tony's been kind of harping on all week, if you keep Julian staying clean, you win the game. And obviously we know Donaldson is the best pass blocker of the group. He's got the most experience. He's the biggest load. But having him in there whenever you are going to be, and of course these would be passing yards, but whenever Julian's going to be passing obvious passing down situations, you take away the opportunity of having Bo as that check down receiver, and he's great at that. Same with Peoples, and Isaiah West has looked good at that as well. So you lose a little bit of that burst, but you need the protection of Donaldson to make sure you're keeping him clean. And with Barham and Derek, like those guys can rush the passer. So I think that we're going to see more Donaldson than we're accustomed to be honest.
I do. I think we're going to see. I think at the end of the day, Ryan Day wants to put the ball in the hands of players that he trusts. And while there are limitations to what CJ Donaldson's game is, he's not a breakaway type of runner. Hell, we haven't even necessarily seen him make you miss type of runner. He's a run you over type of guy. But I think that we will see Donaldson eat up a couple more carries than maybe anticipated just based on that trust factor. At least
agree.
That's how I feel.
I agree. I hate it, but I agree.
Well, we don't have to like it. It's just the reality of it's a reality of what the situation is. And while I think we all would like to see this much more prolific, exciting type of offense, at the end of the day, it comes down to winning. You got to win the damn game, and that's
win the game. The mantra all year, man. Win the game. By the way, Kev, to that win the game, the mantra of win the game, and we know how Ryan Day's played this all year long. I wanted to ask you because I had some people asking me in the chat earlier, and I did a little show kind of answering some of my comments, but this came up several times that people really want to see, and I would love to see as well, Ohio State blow these guys off the field if they get it rolling. But I don't think that's going to be what's going to happen. I think if they get a comfortable lead, they're running the clock out, pulling the dudes, and we're I don't think they're going to put the pedal to the metal as much as Ryan Day would love to. Like you said, playing next week in a 1-versus-2 matchup here. And he's been talking nonstop about the hardware. Yeah, you got a hardware game. You got some gold pants on the line here. They want that Big Ten championship. They want all three goals checked off this year.
Right.
And they're not going to sacrifice potential injury or, something stupid just to try to blow them off the field. But boy, would it be satisfying.
I remember a year at Ohio Stadium that they were going. I mean, they had Michigan beat 6 ways from Sunday, still had their starters out and lost one of their offensive linemen as they were going toward the north end of the stadium. And, you just can't lose sight of the goal. You win the game by 1 point, win the game by 100 points, just win the game. I mean, we can go back to the old story about we're going to hang 100 on you guys or whatever. Fine, whatever. But, at this point, this is just one of the steps on the path is winning this game. And then you get to Indianapolis, presumably against Indiana. You got to take care of that. And then it's 3 games in the playoffs or whatever. So you can't sit there and say, well, we're just going to empty the chamber at this point, and then we're going to have back to the old BCS days, 48 days until the championship game or whatever to make everything right. I mean, you're back out there in a week. Period.
Yeah, for sure. Though I do know, everybody would love it. And it still could happen. You could just very naturally in the flow of the game break this puppy wide open. When it comes to turnovers here, there's a decent possibility that you win this turnover battle by a couple. as we've seen, Bryce is not, he has a couple of multi-interception games on the year. One of those goes back to the house, or you get a short field, you pick up a quick touchdown. And, there is definitely a route where Ohio State wins by 21, which that's blowing them off the field, in my opinion. We've seen it get away from us at the stadium here, going into the fourth quarter close, and all of a sudden you lose by 20 in the fourth quarter. So, it can happen without trying.
Let me get one more rushing prop, and then we got TD scores, and I'm sure we've got some other things. I mean, again, we have the Ryan Day interview that we're going to replay at some point. We've got B-roll, that television term. We've got B-roll of the players getting off the bus or whatever. So we have all of that in the queue that we will try to get to. But Bryce Underwood's rushing total, 16.5.
16.5.
I mean, of course, it comes down to sack yardage. I mean, it's all sack adjusted, and what does all of that mean? But it doesn't sound like they're expecting it to be a huge dose of Bryce Underwood being, making explosive plays, maybe moving the chains a couple of times, things of that nature. But going back to earlier discussion about Washington, they were able to keep Damon Williams very much in check.
He couldn't do anything. I think he was negative after the game, off the top of my head, because they caged him, and he kept, the sacks kept coming from inside. It was Caden and K-Mac, and I honestly, Kev, those are the keys to me of this defense this week. Caden and K-Mac up the gut. I think it's a big mismatch. I think we're going to see them cage Bryce in those two. The more he moves around in the pocket, it just, K-Mac and Caden Curry are going to eat these guys up from the inside. Whenever they move Caden on the inside, man, that's just, it's hell. And I think we'll see they're not going to have an easy time doubling K-Mac, which is going to leave Time Alone singled up a lot. And it's just going to be a disaster for Michigan from the inside of the Ohio State defensive line. On the opposite direction, I think Michigan's got the advantage coming from the edge on, Phil Daniels. I look at the Wisconsin game, and he just had a really rough time one-on-one on an island in pass blocking. And that is kind of one of my big fears of the game, is him versus Barhammer Moore. And, even Serveld had a rough time in that Wisconsin game on an island early on, getting beat inside multiple times. So that right there, to me, Ohio State's inside of the defensive line, them on the outside. I think that's where the pressure is going to come from each team, that direction.
I'm going to read this Market X, and then we'll get to anytime touchdown scores. IGB, Edric Houston, and Philip Daniels need to control themselves. They are going to look to get under their skin. I've always felt that under Harbaugh, and then continuing under Chiron Moore, there's always at least one or two psyops, psychological operations, to those of you who don't read Tom Clancy books, Clive Cussler books, things like that, to get in the minds of Ohio State, and we've seen it through the years. And IGB, Edric, and Philip are all very emotional type of players, and I would not be shocked to see them try anything they can to pick up a cheap 15 or things along those lines of really getting in there. And it's not like it's like, well, Michigan's like the only team that's ever tried to do this. It just seems that Michigan is a team that has been able to psyop Ohio State before.
Absolutely, man. Whether it's, shoes or grabbing somebody where you shouldn't grab them, untying stuff. And I mean, they're just constantly with the nonsense like that. And a great point to pick out those three guys. I mean, they really are. I'd probably throw Jermaine Matthews in there with it. Those are the guys that are, loose cannons, loose cannons for sure. But then at the same time, Kevin, sometimes we see it from a guy that we'd never expected from, like G. Scott doing something stupid. You know what I mean? Somebody trying to make it.
Trevion Henderson against Texas.
There you go. Right. Like, what is that?
I mean, I still to this day, I think I know what happened, but I don't know for sure. I tried to talk to Trey after the fact, after a lot of stuff, and he just kind of hemmed and haws, like, well, shucks, I don't think I need to really relive that story. But yeah, you just don't know. But all right, anytime touchdown scorer, Bo Jackson at -140.
-140. Yeah, I'm going with it. Let's say, but well, no, you know what? I think that's no, I'm going the other direction. I'm going the other direction exclusively. And somebody even busted my chops here in the chat about this because they know how I feel about the touchdown vulture when Bo does all the work to get down. But based on Bo's fumble, I honestly believe Bo is a better goal line back than Donaldson. But based on that fumble last week, I think it's going to be Donaldson that's going to take those. So Bo's going to have to score from 10 or 15 out, which could happen, but I'm going to bet against that rather than with that.
Well, then I'll jump to CJ Donaldson. We're not necessarily going in order here. CJ +160.
Wow. Value bet there. I'm going the other way, man. Yeah, I'm taking that one.
Jeremiah Smith -105.
So a coin flip on a JJ touchdown. I'm taking it. I'm going with the man.
Your highest number for a Michigan player is Jordan Marshall at +110.
So if I only think they're going to score one touchdown, I think I would probably go with a touchdown pass to Marsh or McCauley. I'm going to go with Marsh.
Yeah, well, we'll get to them here in a second. Carnell Tate +125.
I like the number. I think I'd take it. Yeah, I think I'd throw a couple bucks on that one. If I was allowed to do such naughty things in the state of Ohio, I think I would throw a few dollars on
All you have to do is jump in your car and cross the state line or whatever. I mean, that seems like a lot of work. Here's Georgia Tech going for a game-tying touchdown, and it falls to the ground. Georgia wins. All right, so which number do you like better? You brought up Marsh and McCauley. I've got McCauley at +360, and I've got Marsh at +270.
So I'm going with Big Donovan McCauley, goal line touchdown at +360. And I think that is a pretty, that's a good number for potentially them tossing him one up if they get down there, and him coming down with it at his length. He is just a long dude. He's not Calvin Johnson. I had a little war of the words with one of their guys, one of the Michigan podcasters earlier on in the season, in the preseason. They were just going nuts about what McCauley was going to do. And they don't just give the number one to him for no reason. Okay, dude.
Obviously they must have known something that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. So they gave him the number one because he's going to be the next Braylon Edwards, and he's built like Calvin Johnson, and they know Calvin Johnson intimately. He's from, he's a Detroit player. It's not panned out for them like that, but I could see that happening. I could also see the Marsh happening. I could see Marsh scoring from a little further out, but I could see McCauley scoring from if they get down to the goal line. But I would take the McCauley bet just based on those odds, because I think that's a pretty nice little payout if you can make that happen.
Here's the one that I find to be, and then I want to talk about the two defenses because both the defenses are on the board, but I want to talk about this one. This is the one that they have Brandon Ennis and Mylan Graham at the same number, both at +330. Mylan Graham had a bad week of practice by all accounts last week, didn't play until the second half, was lightly used. I mean, is that just, is that a catch-all type of situation of Tate's not right, Jeremiah may not be right, so we got to work our way down the list? And how is it that Mylan and BI have the same number? Based on what I've seen through 11 games and usage and everything else, that one just feels really odd to me. That one, I don't know what the thought process is there.
I'm totally with you. I mean, you look at in the UCLA game, Mylan had 7 targets, 3 receptions, and that 7 targets was more targets than he had the entire year. I think it was double the entire targets he had over the whole year. Caught just 3 balls, looked out of sorts, then follows that up with a not great week of practice heading into the Rutgers game. He doesn't even get to play till the second half. He's not seeing the field. I don't think he's seeing the field, Kevin. Even if Carnell's out, even if Carnell doesn't play, I think it's Quincy Porter and not Milan, because I just don't think they have a lot of faith in Milan where he's at right now in his development. To be honest, I was kind of, I don't want to say shocked by it, but I would have expected him to be a little further along than what he's showing us. And I think Ryan Day kind of gave it away. Maybe it's been about 3 weeks now when he was asked about Milan, because, Milan's been a big topic of conversation all year long for the people who are not happy with what's coming out of the slot. Why can't you move Milan to the slot and put him in over BI? BI is not electric enough. He doesn't have enough juice. The production's not there. And Milan Graham could do better. And then Ryan Day was asked about him, and he said basically, oh, he's been practicing a little better lately. And when you hear that about a guy, it's like, okay, if that's the first thing he's saying, it means that he was not practicing up to standard before. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And now you see him in action, and it certainly looked like, and some of those routes are option routes for the receiver when he gets out, which way he's going to go. They clearly weren't on the same page. We know that. But you could also say, maybe he wasn't in the right spot all the time. And then Julian was throwing balls a little bit like he's used to throwing them to Carnell and JJ, and they got that rhythm. It was clear they didn't have them. But Milan just did not look super impressive. I mean, as an athlete, yes, the guy looks like a deer out there. But as a receiver, still got a long way to go. And Tony and I were having the discussion about this last week. The fact that Brian Hartline is now, got his offensive coordinator duties, and he did not want this to happen. Early on, he was talking in the year like, they're going to get the exact same coaching they always have. I just don't see how that's possible when you pick up, oh, I'm also the offensive coordinator now. And maybe that has been something that's contributed to maybe he might have been developing at a faster clip if Hartline was 100% in on that. But yeah, that's my long-winded answer of no, I don't think that he is going. I would not bet that for Milan, but I might take a flyer on that BI, because a lot of times we see guys score in this game that don't usually score.
Remember, welcome to the league, Chris Olave. He had 2 touchdowns, in his first real action or whatever. So, I'm sitting here, I'm looking down here. There's not really anybody that surprising on the Ohio State offensive side. You've got Julian Sayin at plus 800. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I would like to see maybe a Lincoln Keenholtz number on a tush push for him or whatever. But if you had an Alexander Hamilton burning a hole in your pocket and you had to put $10 on one of these two, Ohio State defense scoring plus 750 or the Michigan defense scoring plus 950?
OSU defense all day. This guy's a turnover machine waiting to happen, man. And when he gets rattled, it's really going to happen. And I think that these guys are going to rattle him. I'm surprised that's plus 750. I don't know. I don't usually get to see these kind of props anymore. It's been a couple of years now, so maybe that's a normal number, but I'd have thought it'd been a lot higher than that. But on that Lincoln Keenholtz topic, Kev, what did you think of the package that they had in last week? And do you think we're going to see that package?
I am not a big fan of making wholesale personnel choices, changes like that. But if you feel that you can't score with the personnel you've got, I mean, the goal is to score points, but you sit there and, I mean, I understand you show it and you have them throw to give them something to think about. This is just not we're going to come in and we're going to just try and shove them up the gut, through a gap or whatever. But I don't know if I've seen execution on the Keenholtz package yet to the point of where I'm like, I'm cool. I'm comfortable with this. I mean, it's been a adventure in babysitting every single time it's happened.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to put him in there, and I guess the first play, the game was still close for starters, and it was 4th and 2, and you're rolling him out left. You got 3 tight ends split out wide, and he doesn't notice Jelani wide open in front of him, drops a dime, but again, he's rolling out left and he's cold. Then on the play he rolled out right, he was late and behind a BI. And, you know, again, he's coming in cold, so he's not going to be in rhythm, but down by the goal line running, I kind of like it, because then, you know, you got that option that he still can pass, and it's going to be a short throw. If they toss that in there, I wouldn't be stunned. It wouldn't stun me. Keith Michael has a comment in here. Donaldson is not what OSU needs in this game. Donaldson playing a lot means Day is coaching not to lose, as opposed to coaching to win the game. Jackson is a difference maker, coach to win. What are your thoughts on that comment, Kevin?
You just got to win the damn game. I mean, Donaldson is your touchdown vulture. He's your Pete Johnson to Archie Griffin. You know, he's the guy I'm giving it to inside the 5, and hopefully it's not getting to third down, because you're getting 2 -1 and then 4 at that point. But I don't have an issue with. I mean, I don't want to see CJ Donaldson on, you know, first and 10 at the 50. That's not necessarily what's there, but also we're not privy to seeing every snap in practice. I haven't seen a snap of practice since fall camp. So did we even see fall camp? I don't know if I think we saw the beginning of that. I don't even remember. But the point is I don't see it as a coaching not to lose. You're coaching to put up more points than your opponent. This is not a case of a chicken bleep punt, you know, on your plus 37 or something like that. This is a case of putting yourself in the best position to win. I don't know if a true freshman in Bo Jackson, I don't know if a true freshman in Isaiah West is going to be the best scenario. This is the type of game where we see errors of effort. I'm trying to prolong the play, so I'm going to get stood up and I'm going to get the ball stripped because I'm trying to pick up 2 more yards. I think that your veteran players, especially a CJ Donaldson, who's been to the fair and seen the bear in a lot of regards, I don't have as much of an issue there, but there are going to be certain plays where I don't necessarily want to see them in certain personnel packages.
I think that been to the fair and seen the bear is maybe my favorite one-liner you've ever dropped.
We haven't done enough shows. And of course, as I said, today's show is brought to you by Sunny D. As long as I keep drinking these, I'll come up with better ones. Somebody was asking what the Claire odds were. I had them. They were plus 250. Plus 250 on anytime Max Claire's.
Ooh. I mean, he hasn't scored many touchdowns this year, but we know that Michigan has a proclivity to allow the tight ends that they face the best games of their season. So certainly a spot that they are weak at. And to see a Max Claire touchdown from about 20 yards out, I think that is that might be worth a couple of bucks. I feel like now that I'm betting on way too many Buckeyes to score touchdowns though, but I feel like that's a pretty nice bet, man. It's kind of enticing, plus 250.
Here we go. Team yards. Let me look at this. Over under on Ohio State team yards, 379.5.
379.5 feels
low. That feels really low to me.
I would say 400 feels like a good number to me. I think 400, if things are clicking well, 400 is easily attainable. I think 400. Yeah, I'm going to go over on that one.
I'm trying to get the Michigan one up here. Let me cancel this. Move all selections. It's all right. Here we go. It's 288.5 for Michigan.
Wow. They like the Buckeyes with 100 more yards. 288. So Ohio State has only been allowing 206 yards a game this year. The last 5 opponents they've played, they've been 20 to 30 point favorites. So that really skews that number. 288. I'm going to say under. Yeah, I'm going to go with under.
Yeah, I don't disagree on that one either. Let me keep going here though. I don't care about these alt lines. Game specials. Game specials. Love these. Michigan not to score a touchdown in the game, plus 650.
Oh, that is one worth a couple of dollars, Kev. Don't you think?
I only have $2 in my FanDuel right now.
Well,
the
listen.
the book that I have money in is Bet365, and you don't get it in Michigan. So
If we're trying to, take that $2 and turn it into enough bucks to be worth playing with that without investing any more money, I think this is the bet to put that $2 on, Kev.
yeah,
That's enough payout to make it worth it. And I could certainly see them kicking a few field goals early, couple of stalled drives before Ohio State scored a lot. And then after that, field goals are off the board because they're down and they're only going to go for touchdowns, but they're not going to get them. And then they're stuck. They've scored 6 points and that's the ball game. It's 34-6. Buckeyes win. No touchdowns for them.
here's the question. I see the number. I already know it. Flip the bet to Ohio State. What is the number for Ohio State not to score a touchdown?
For Ohio State not to score a touchdown, plus 1,400.
Plus 2,700.
Wow.
Plus
Yeah.
2,700. Yeah. So that's not the biggest reach of all of these team specials. The biggest team special reach is each team to score 1+ touchdown in each quarter, plus 6,000.
Yeah, man, that's a stretch. 1 touchdown apiece in each quarter. I mean, we're looking at, geez, yeah. What I would, one of the talking points this week that I've been having is obviously we know what the game plan is for Michigan. Okay, how do we beat Ohio State? Well, we want to, limit their possessions. We want to run clock, slow the game. You know what I mean? Like slow the game down. So all the things you usually hear from teams when they play Ohio State, and that's obviously how any underdog wants to play Ohio State. But Ohio State has not really cared against a lot of these underdogs because they just don't have the firepower to beat them. And you look at even the Penn State game, and Ryan Day was kind of lamenting at halftime that you go to halftime, it feels like you're winning, and all of a sudden there's a fumble right before halftime. They score, and now it's just a very minimal lead because so few possessions, and that was just Ohio State's 4th possession that they had fumbled in the first half there, right before halftime for Penn State. The Penn State converted, and it magnifies how much that turnover matters. They've been having a lot of games recently playing very, very slow and getting just 8 offensive possessions out of the game. Now,
do they speed it up? Do they try to speed it up?
Yeah,
Ryan Day has talked about when it's time to turn it on, it's time to turn it on.
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. Is that what we're going to see? Are we going to see it turned on to try to get to 10 possessions this game so that if by chance there is a turnover, it's not as magnified with just these 8 possessions they've been playing?
I'll be interested. People are wanting to know like hour by hour weather. So I'm trying to pull up the hourly just because it's supposed to be 1 inch of snow during the day and then 3 to 5 at night. Turn off ad blocker. Come on. Pause on this site. There we go. All right. Hourly. It's not supposed, the light snow is supposed to start about 3 o'clock. The real snow is supposed to start about 5 o'clock. So I think we're going to be fine. Weather is not going to be an excuse.
Ralph Go Blue has a comment I want to address, Kevin. Ralph Go Blue says, if OSU wins, do they plant the flag? Which I'm okay with. Texas did it in Ann Arbor, and everyone understood it's football. Beat them, and they can't plant the flag. And this is Ralph. Now, Ralph is not saying the full story here. Texas planted the flag after the Michigan players were all off of the field. Had Texas planted the flag when the Michigan players were out on the field, there would have been an altercation. And Ralph is trying to insinuate that what the Ohio State players did by not allowing the Michigan players to plant the flag without an altercation was not right of the Ohio State players. They were 100% within their right. Like, you lose the game, so what? You're just allowed to disrespect me any way you want to because you beat me?
You want
I'm
to come over
sorry.
to my house and make a sandwich and punch
Yeah.
my wife while you're at it?
You get to take my wife out because you beat me? No. If the Michigan players were on the field when Texas did that Bush League thing, there would have been a problem. There would have been an absolute problem. So no, Ralph trying to make his boys look good. And Ohio State will not do that. I guarantee Ohio State will not do that.
No, there's not a chance. I think that CJ Barnett and the rest of the staff would probably tackle an Ohio State player before they would ever make it to the 50. Before that, just you don't need to pull that type of move or anything like that. So Ohio State basketball having a really cold start right now, down 13-4 to Pitt. So don't flip to ESPN2 if you don't want to be frustrated with that one. But this is not a basketball show. I don't like flag planting or whatever. Look, I'm not anti running up the score, do better or anything like that. But there are limits, and I don't like the flag planting or whatever. And I know there are a lot of people that want, a measure of redemption. The universe has to be equal. We need to have balance to the force and everything else. And young Anakin, but don't even mess with it. Don't even mess with it. Don't get into that. I mean, just, get there, hug your teammates, get on the bus, and get home.
So last year there was that awesome game. Penn State went out and played at USC, and it was a great game. And Penn State ends up winning the game late. And one of their guys went to plant the flag, and James Franklin grabbed him, and the cameras were on James Franklin. And he was like, no, absolutely not. James Franklin takes the pull. So I came on and I played the clip, and I talked about, and this is before Michigan did that at Ohio State. They had done it, of course, previously, but I said, I got a lot of respect for James Franklin for doing this, because that's a Bush League move. So then, of course, Michigan does that, and there's the big, hoopla, and they're all coming in my comments and in all of our comments saying we would never say this if the roles were reversed. So I had that clip that I pulled up. Like, I've been consistent here. This is a Bush League thing to do, and I would be irritated if Ohio State did it because it's Bush League. But they were trying to make it sound like that law was something we were all behind, which was total hogwash and a bunch of nonsense.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were going somewhere else. So I was reading comments or whatever. I just win the game, win with class, lose with class. But let's not see what losing with class looks like. Just win the damn game. That's what this comes down to. Jordan Lewis 7 exactly. I love the strong faith in our guys. I mean, everybody wants to talk about this series. They're relatively clean games or whatever. I mean, the hits are harder or whatever. I still, as I said, I still truly believe in the PSYOP whole theory. You're never going to move me off of that. But as Juck had mentioned earlier, this is like a team full of veterans. They're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe, which for you kids out there was a great scene from Beverly Hills Cop, the original one back in the 80s. They're not going to fall for this stupid stuff. They're going to just get out there and do what they need to just to get into here. Is Gus Johnson calling the game? Yes, this will be a Gus and Joel game. I mean, I think we've kind of hit most of the bets right here. So we've kind of gone through it, but you're going to talk me into betting the $2 I may bet it on the whatchamacallit on the no touchdowns, the no Michigan touchdowns. Why not?
That's a good payout. I like that one.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing it. Let me go back to bet slip. Let me pull this other one off.
All right.
It's already logged me out. It just hates me. Whatever.
Luke's Dojo says Julian should get those touchdowns for his Heisman campaign before Indiana. I do like Lincoln, though. So I don't think that will be anything that'll be factored into the equation, but I do want to get into that talk for just a second as we look at the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, the narrative that Julian's insane completion percentage is just due to his alien wide receivers was certainly pushed by the last 2 games, and his completion percentage wasn't as high. So a lot of people kind of dunking on that and saying, see, we told you, etc. But I still think, despite kind of the way the momentum is really slowed for him in this, that if Ohio State wins this game, and you can, first off, there's a lot of people out there that haven't really seen Julian Sayin since the Texas game. So if he is on point in this game and Ohio State wins and he has a really good game, I still think there's a very good chance that you can go into the Big Ten championship. And if he outduels Mendoza, that he could still take this award home.
Yeah, I agree. And the vast majority of Heisman voters don't get their ballots in until the final 48 hours before they're due. So, I think that, it's very much in play. I mean, people are going to sit there and remember, okay, well, he didn't look so great in the last game without his alien wide receivers or whatever. But, with that being said, I mean, if he comes out there and, the 176, but he still had 2 touchdowns out there. I mean, I think that if he comes out and hits the numbers that the bets have and everything else, and then outduels Mendoza, I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. And I think with Jeremiah missing a couple of games, that's going to help dilute. We're not going to see the dilution of the votes. Well, I'm only going to vote for one Ohio State player. I'm only going to. It's Julian or it's JJ. I think at this point, all the focus now can go into the Julian campaign.
It's a great point.
So it's 8 quarters. It's 8 quarters at this point of football against 2 ranked teams. One of the, and of course, the next 4 quarters don't mean anything if Ohio State poops the bed against Michigan. But, you sit there and you do that on that stage in a game that kind of sits in its own window. I think Julian wins the Heisman at that point.
Yeah, that's a really good point that Jeremiah, he's kind of faded off here, missing the games. Easy J says, do you guys think that if Ryan Day loses this game, he'll be historically remembered as that guy that couldn't beat Michigan like Cooper? I would say, number one, if he loses it, number one, it's not his last shot. He's probably gonna have several more. At least I hope he has several more shots at it. But I'll also say that I think that being the fact that he is a national championship winning coach now, that'll be the first thing he's remembered from. And number 2, Cooper was at the press conference on Tuesday, Kev, and I looked over and I was like, oh my gosh, there's Coop. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's Michigan week and there's Coop. And it was just like memories flooded.
Yeah. People need to remember this about, and I like John Cooper, and I covered John Cooper in my first go round in Ohio State media or whatever. So none of this comes from a place of malice. None of this comes from a bad place. This is all with love, peace and love, peace and love. Cooper not only couldn't beat Michigan, Cooper couldn't win his bowl games. Mm-hmm. Cooper couldn't even beat Illinois on the regular. And this was like when Lou Tepper was at Illinois. How often are we talking about Lou Tepper? How many people in the chat even know who the hell Lou Tepper is?
Right.
So there was a lot more to it. So you can't just go vis-a-vis, he's a losing streak against Michigan, so therefore it's the same situation. It's not the same situation. I don't want to live in a world of where we need to see what this looks like if Ohio State drops this game once again, but this isn't going to be a case of where people are going to just completely sell. Now, I'm going to be honest. Walking out of Ohio Stadium last year, after that loss, I sat there and was saying to myself, this isn't working. I don't think this is working there. Little did I know that the 4-game streak Ohio State had in it was going to come in and they were going to win the national championship. But, the way that they lost that game, the way that they just completely changed what it is they did, who it was that they were. I mean, all of that, I was a doubter. And again, I don't look at this stuff from a fan perspective. I try to remove myself. I don't remember going to 8 a.m. classes at Ohio State. I don't remember all the money that I spent at the Ohio State bars as a student. I try to look at this completely objectively. But looking at it objectively, I had a hard time of seeing how this was going to rectify itself. But we're in a different realm right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if they don't go on the run and win the national championship last year, this is a totally different conversation. Totally different conversation. Like, this is like, I mean, I said the other day that I felt like still this was, as close to a must-win game as you can have without it being an elimination game. It's not an elimination game, so it's not a must-win game. But when we look at this game moving forward as to what it means, momentum-wise, psyche-wise, like, I don't think you can duplicate what they were able to use that game for last year. The loss galvanized them as a team. It broke them down. They broke each other down. They aired out everything. They regrouped, came up with a new plan, and off they went. You lose it this time, like, that's cooked. You're not doing that again. And I think that it really is an albatross, and everybody just gets brought down by it. 2 senior classes in a row graduating without beating them. Day loses another one. The noise won't be nearly as loud as it was, but it'll be there. It'll certainly be there, especially as a double-digit favorite again. And I just feel like it's gonna maybe ruin the whole psyche and the whole mentality here. And coming off of that game last year, like, yeah, that was I think everybody felt that way coming out of that game, just based off the way it all felt and the way he looked after the game. Was very tough to see him regrouping the way he did. I'm just looking at him like that at the end of the game. Like, this looks bad. Looks like a guy that's just lost control. Wasn't even coaching like himself. 1,000-yard stare. So it'll be really, the cameras will be on him all day. As this is just the first game after that one. It's going to be such an interesting game.
I was at a friend's house for Thanksgiving last night, and there were a lot of conversations about last year and everything else, and the thing that I don't think we talk about enough. And again, what happens in a game happens in a game. There's no excuses. I'm not a loss denier. If you lose a game, you lost the game. It is what it is. But Will Howard absolutely got his bell rung in that game, and I question to this point them sticking with him because he was not right. And it wasn't like that the offense completely changed, but it did turtle a lot. And I don't know. They just needed to make a little bit of luck, and they just couldn't make any luck in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. He was definitely not himself. And, the play calling past that kind of reflected that as well. The missed field goals, certainly you could point to those as well. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for sure.
Let me jump in here and say, hey, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the bell as well. Get the notification, which works about 30% of the time. That's a YouTube thing and not an us thing. When we're going on live, we have so much great programming here on the channel. Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning, the Buckeye Weekly Podcast, Jux's show. Eventually, I'll start doing my show again, School Session Recruiting Podcast. So much great content over there. And if you're not a member of Buckeye Huddle, sign up there too. It's going to be a fun run here. I'm just telling you. I'm expecting big things here in whatever it is, 16 and a half hours when the game kicks off, and whatever games may follow that. So check us out at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Did you get a chance to hear the Ryan Day sound?
I did not hear it yet.
Yeah, how about let me pull this down and let me run the Ryan Day sound. It's only a minute 44. They don't give us long with him, and we can kind of comment on what he says, his answers, and of course his non-answers. So let's go to that.
Jeremiah and Carnell here, very good to go.
They are on the trip and looking for a good night of preparation. We just flew in. It was a great flight, and looking forward to having a great preparation tonight. We'll continue to do that all the way to kickoff. But
Coach,
they're here and excited.
How do you think your team prepared for this test?
Well, very similar to how we have all year. A little extra focus, just a different look in their eye this week, and so I want to continue that tonight, and then wake up in the morning with great energy and go get a win.
I know, the emotion. But I know it's an early lights out for you on these noon games. How do you guys actually sleep on a night like this before a game like this?
Well, it's funny, that's why you try to get sleep early in the week, because it's a little bit harder for a game like this for sure. But we'll do the same routine and make sure you have a great meal and do bed check and get them to bed early.
You talk about playing with emotion, but not letting emotion play with you. How do you slowly let that balance out here as you ramp up and get closer to kickoff?
Well, you just keep talking to the guys about it, have a plan when they get on the field and what that comes with, and just been talking about it every day, all week, about what that looks like and the focus that needs to happen in this game, and we all have to do our job. And that's really what it comes down to. In any type of mission, everybody has a job they have to do, and they have to execute it when they get on the field.
Right.
So, that's been it, and that's going to continue to be the best way to kick off.
Do you feel like you have a good handle on what kind of weather conditions you're going to face, or you just have to kind of roll with the punches tomorrow?
Yeah, I think kind of like this. Maybe some snow later in the game, but no, it's the same for both teams, and we can't wait for it.
You've got feet on the ground now inside the state of Michigan. What is it like to be here and the excitement as we approach this?
There's a good bounce on everybody's step right now. So, we'll just focus on tonight, having a good meal, and keeping the guys locked in. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. That was head coach Ryan Day.
There you go. The thing that jumped out most of me is about how do you sleep on a night like this? And
Kevin, I was just about to comment on that.
and everybody wants this to be a night game. I could not imagine just having to sit on your hands all through the day. I mean, play this game at 10 in the morning. I can hear the West Coast people freaking out. Oh my God, that's 7 in the morning. I'm going to have to start drinking at 2 in the morning. But get to the game already. But I can't imagine just the amount of nerves. I mean, I know that throughout Buckeye Nation and whatever they call their nation up, amongst the other team, it's going to be a lot of tossing and turning, but just, we're just observers. I mean, we're lucky enough to talk about it, write about it, or whatever. These are the guys going through it. I mean, how do you sleep the night? I mean, I don't know.
I just said this the other day, Kev, no joke. I said, I know there's a lot of people who want this game played under the lights, and that would be awesome. It would be an amazing experience. But for me, when I wake up the morning of the game, number one, I try to sleep in as long as I can, which doesn't usually work. And then number two, I'm such a ball of anxiety. It takes so long and it's grueling for 12 to get there. And then, halftime rolls around and I'm like, gosh, this game is taking forever. And the second half seems to take forever, especially if you got a lead. Like, it would ruin my whole day if it was an evening game. I wouldn't enjoy the 1 o'clock game. I wouldn't enjoy the 4 o'clock games. Like, now, if Ohio State wins, the rest of the day is just a wonderful day. You get to enjoy the rest of the day. I would hate it. It would ruin the whole day if you had to wait till 7. So no, I don't want it ever to be at night. I like it at noon. I want that thing. To me, this is not an enjoyable day. It's not an enjoyable experience. It's not enjoyable until there's zeros on the clock. It's never been an enjoyable. There are a few exceptions where it's like, yeah, I really love the day. I don't love the day. I want the result, and I want the result I want, and then I enjoy it. It's the only game, really. It's the only Ohio State game I never enjoy. It's not an enjoyable experience. It's an anxiety-ridden, tense experience. There was one year I ran on a treadmill literally the entire flipping game because I couldn't burn off the anxiety. I'm a bit of a basket case tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I can go back to my collegiate days of when I was at Ohio State, Papa Joe's was still open and kegs and eggs, and I don't remember going to the game on a few occasions or whatever, but I couldn't imagine playing this game at 3 or 7 or whatever, and just having to drag on and drag on and drag on. And again, everybody has their own rooting interest. I want more time to be able to pregame. I want more time to be able to do this. But think about the athletes who are having to go through all of this and how they're having to sit there and, cooped up at the hotel and everything else. And then, of course, the other thing that I took from the interview was Ryan Day's non-answers. He's not, some babe in the woods when it comes to this interview situation. Yes, Jeremiah, yes, Carnell are on the trip, but but then again, who JJ and Carnell, who are you talking about? I don't even know. He was really trying to keep it pretty vague.
Yeah. Those little 2-minute hits are always interesting. It's always interesting to hear the questions that get asked. Like sometimes somebody will ask something like, how do you deal with the emotion? And it's like, man, you've got like 5 questions here. There's a lot of stuff we could get out of him. I don't want to hear about the emotion.
He's not going to answer anything. And honestly, the thing is, we kind of started a trend like crashing in on the television. This was always a television station event, and we started putting these up a couple of years ago. And yeah, it's going to be 1:30 to, if you're lucky, 2:30, maybe get it to 2:30. And the TV stations are looking for a soundbite. That's what it is. You want to have that 11-second soundbite that you can run on your Friday night news that people are going to talk about. That's going to be memorable. I've had my foot in both pools. I've had my foot on the print side. I've had my foot on the television side, and we're not always necessarily going for the same soundbite. They need the standalone soundbite, which I've always kind of liked that type of soundbite that's going to look good on its own. Whereas when you're writing about it, that soundbite doesn't do blank for you. Now that Tom and Tony are here, and this is a Buckeye Weekly, let me say it again: hell and damn, just get us demonetized. But it's a case of you're looking for different things.
Yeah. So I'm just now learning all of this, Kevin, but I do love it when you add these nuggets because it now makes a little more sense to me. Before I would have no idea what you're talking about here.
Well, it's a racket. It's a racket, but I'm glad that we're able to get to that. I will say here in the not too distant future, I think I'll be tagging out and Tom and Tony will be jumping in, but I think that they have just come out of the maze from the shining outside and are starting to warm up a little bit. So we will continue to carry the ball a little bit, and then we will let them come in and CJ Donaldson this up and scoop the touchdown out away from us. Even though we really are the ones who move the ball down the field.
We did do the work.
I wanted to get to this one. Jordan Kapler asked me to save this question. What is one lesson that you hope Coach Day has learned that would ensure an OSU win? And, again, I think that's very similar to what we talked about at first. But, I think that this is not a what do they need to do. I think this needs to be a lesson. And I've said mine until I'm blue in the face. But, through these losses, through all the wins and the very few losses, what is the lesson that you think that Ryan Day needs to most draw from in order to get Ohio State across that finish line?
I think he's learned it, and I think he's told us this week by how he's prepared, and that is to just be Ryan Day that you always are this day too. You don't need to be something else. You don't need to be something extra. You don't need to prepare differently. What you do is good enough, and you don't need the extra pressure. You don't need to rah-rah the guys up. Everybody knows what this game means. And I think it's been all week long, that approach. Like what we do every week is who we are, and that's how we perform the best. And it's the same for him. Just be you. And I think he's going to look like himself, like he didn't last year. He didn't, like, you look at him in the second half, like it didn't even look like his face. It just looked different. Everything felt different. And it's going to be just him, the same him we see every week on the sidelines. It's just going to be him. And he's going to get this done tomorrow.
And as I said earlier, and you may have heard me say it, it may have been the couple of minutes I was on before as we were getting you into the room. You don't need to win a knife fight in a coffin. You don't have to sit there and play in 1 square foot and try and win this game. You have a decided advantage in so many different ways. Nobody's going to question the way that you want it. The way that you win the game, if you're able to win the game, if you're so fortunate to do that. And we this is the third time I brought up the psyops. I mean, I think Ryan Day got psyoped with all the stuff that, well, is it really a win if you don't go out and you beat them at their own game? It's absolutely a win, because if you sit there and you go in and you're like, well, all right, we agree. It's like the old movie trope or whatever. It's like, oh, I don't have a gun. Well, all right, I'm going to throw this gun aside. I'm going to fist fight you.
Yeah.
Shoot the MFer. Seriously, shoot the MFer, for Pete's sake. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Win the fight. Indiana Jones had it right. Guys got the knife or the sword and doing all this stuff. Shoot the SOB in the head. I mean, come on.
I think you don't have to win a knife fight in a coffin. His overtaken. He's been to the fair and seen the bear is my favorite Kevin Noon one-liner.
Again, we'll have to do more shows, and again, we'll have to do more shows brought to you by Sunny D Vodka Seltzer, because that has really made me a little bit looser and a little bit more fun. It's been a long week with the holiday and everything else, but I'm enjoying spending time with Chuck, Tom, and Tony, as I said, who've just walked into the room, and of course all of our great commenters out there. So be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't miss any of the things that we put up here on youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle, and we will get you through the night. We will get you through the night. A check of the score: Ohio State basketball had closed it to a 1-point margin. They're down 10 again. It's 30-20 Pitt at the under 4 timeout. So we'll see what happens at that point. But again, this is a football show. We do have a question or a comment here from Geiger Flea saying, "How's Tom's cot in Livonia?" Uninflated. It is uninflated at this point. That's what I can tell you at this point. His cot is probably still in the back of the rental car. That is the problem with traveling as a 3-person crew. Not a lot of rooms have 3. So if you want Tom not to have to sleep on a cot, send us a super chat. If you want Tom to sleep on a super chat or sleep on a cot, send us 2 super chats. It's a super cot, if you will.
That's the name of the city you're in, Kevin? Livonia?
We're in Livonia, I believe. Yes, I did not book this room, but I believe that is where we are. We're not far away from a Coney Island place, though we will not be eating there this trip. I think we've stayed at this hotel before, but we've eaten there, or at least at a sister restaurant of it in the past. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I mean, all things considered, we're not downwind of Ohio, of the Michigan campus at this point, so that's good as well.
How far away are you from the stadium?
30 minutes, I'm being told, from out in the distance. So it's not that bad, and we get there so early. We get there very early because we got to get our credentials. We're of course going to do some content in the morning, and then we also want to be in place as soon as we can get in there to get in place to do what it is we need to do. And what does it look like? Tell us the experience tomorrow. When you get there, you guys get in. Do you go to the studio, the place where they do the post-game interviews, and set up your camera to start with? Well, what we'll do is, Michigan's a little bit different in terms of, if you don't have a photographer pass, there are a lot of areas you can't go through, like the field. So I will hand my tripod off to Tom, who will get that set up for us. Tony and I will head up probably to the press box and go get set up there. Of course, we've got to get ready for the availability report, things of that nature. Ohio State and Tibittle will be at the game. Look for us to potentially have something with Tibittle tomorrow as well. It's always nice to see, the best damn band in the land out there trying to class up the joint a little bit. So, we will have a full morning. We will have a full morning, and of course, kick off a little bit after 12 p.m. according to Rupert Murdoch time. And how do you like this press box compared to most? It's better than it used to be. I've been there for the old version of the press box. I've been there for the new version of the press box. The food is okay, okay plus. But you know, it's not bad. I mean, I've been to much worse press boxes, and I mean, the one thing I don't like about this is just the one tunnel. I don't like the one tunnel situation. Not like I can't go through the tunnel until I'm coming after the end of the game because they won't let us, as I said, they won't let us on the field. But you know, outside of that, you know, it's fine. I mean, there's a lot of jawing going on, and there's going to probably be more jawing going on now because of the streak that Michigan has.
Now, when you say tunnel, well, this is the tunnel going out onto the field,
right?
What is it that you say you're not going onto the field?
I will not be allowed on the field prior to the game, during the game, even immediately after the game. You have to go around the concourse, almost like leave the stadium, go past Chrysler Arena, and then re-enter, which is, I understand there's not a lot of sideline room there at the stadium on the field. They wanted to kind of clear all that out, but I don't necessarily agree with the strategy of how they do this kind of crowd control, because you're running around with expensive bags of gear trying to go through the concourse, and that's just not a great situation.
Gotcha. So this sounds like a pain in the butt compared to other stadiums.
It has its challenges, but then again, you know, I'm not going to say that there aren't other places that have their own set of challenges. I mean, I think Ohio Stadium, we're very much spoiled. Ohio Stadium has a pretty decent policy for field access, for riders. You know, the post game situation being in separate towers, I think that works out pretty well. You know, Ohio State is for a stadium that's over 100 years old or 100 years old or whatever. It built and has been maintained to a way to not make our lives super difficult. I'm going to start making some adjustments too as we are getting ready to make the tag here. So let me do this. Oh, hello. And they're noticing how I've had to do everything to get every drop of light that I can in this room. Yeah, I know. It's not ideal.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Now that you light is here.
Well, I was going to say, well, you guys light up my life. So as I'm now into the shadow, but they're going to punch themselves in. I'm going to punch myself out. But Chuck, you can continue on with Tom and Tony. I am going to have some pizza and watch a little Texas A&M.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Kevin missed a question here. It says, Kevin, what was your greatest memory from the big house so far in your life, good or bad? Why don't we just throw it to Tom? Tom, what's up, Tom?
Chuck, how are you? Kevin is in the background. He said that his greatest memory is the first time he ever got to cover a game with Tom and Tony. Said it was the greatest honor of his life, which, I mean, obviously understandable.
Very memorable. I remember the first time that I ever covered a game with Tom. That's a lie. I don't. Couldn't even tell you. Couldn't even begin to tell you. Chuck, I don't know how long you want to be here. I don't know if you're ready to go, if you want to stay.
Yeah, I'm going to bounce, but I do want to say before I go, Tony, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you ought to, because last night he posted his own personal sideline recording of the end of the 2016 game, and it was phenomenal. An angle you've never seen. Tony's commentary was unbelievable. You got to watch it. So follow Tony. Tony, what's your handle on X?
At Tony Gerdeman.
At Tony Gerdeman.
Chuck, I'll let you know. I've got 19 minutes of that. From the start of that video, there's 19 minutes that follows, but I only posted like 6 on Twitter, and the rest is the celebration, Sweet Caroline, like 20 minutes of that whole thing that I think I've posted it maybe on my own YouTube channel before, but I'll shoot you a link.
Yeah. Love to see it. It was excellent. Gentlemen, hope you're all warmed up. I will talk to you guys later.
See you, Jack. Thank you.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you to Kevin. Thank you to Jack for handling. I don't know. That was a pretty decent amount of time
I don't want to say which pizza place was really deliberate in getting their pizza out, but it was neither ready nor hot when we got there. So,
but we are here, and now we can read all of your questions. We can attack everything that you guys want to discuss that you haven't yet, or that you want to. Again, we are here for that. Thank you guys again for sticking around. We are now 2.5 hours into this live stream as I look at it now. Appreciate all the likes on YouTube. Appreciate all the feedback and the comments there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we, I guess, let's start with what we saw, what we heard with Ryan Day. I guess that's a good place to start because we can get caught up on comments because I'm guessing there's a lot of questions that have been answered already here. But
and
I think the first thing that everyone's going to want to know is Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith. Ryan Day answered it in exactly the way that Ryan Day has been answering this stuff all week, which is to say he's not really answering it. But I went back and I was looking when I was in the car on the way back here, and I think the thing to me that is more telling than anything else is there's this little smirk on his face. Like he knows he's messing with us because he just said, yeah, they made the trip, and he knows he's messing with us. But is he messing with us like, oh boy, I just got some bad news? That is not at all the vibe of what that little look on his face tells me.
No, I don't think that was bad news, bad vibes, smile that you see from Ryan Day.
No.
And really all week, he's been very, very just in a very good mood, joking around, and doesn't seem to be nervous, is not showing the kind of concern that you wouldn't want him showing concern. So everything that you would want to see out of your head coach, I think you're seeing right now, although some would want to see more militant, we will die on this hill. I will, not let Michigan do whatever. So, but you don't want him tight. He's not tight. He's not seemed tight at all this week. And frankly, at all this season, other than the fact where, early in camp and throughout camp in spring, there's just a lot of talk about Texas.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been quite a. Sorry, I was going through and starting some questions, but yeah, I think this is a game that Ryan Day has learned his lesson from last year. I think last year the big takeaway that they had was this game is not life and death. Like this is an important game. This is a game that in a lot of ways will help define this season. But this game is not life and death. You just saw last year they lost the game and they were still able to win the national championship. They missed out on the Big Ten championship. They missed out on the Gold Pants. But it was not the end of the world like the way in previous years. 1995, they came up here 30 years ago, and all they needed to do was win that and then win the Rose Bowl against what was not a particularly good USC team, and you're undefeated, and maybe you get a split national championship because they were probably fortunate to not have to play that Nebraska team that season, but they won the Heisman over the Nebraska team. It was Eddie George got that over Tommy Frazier that year. So maybe if they had won that game convincingly and they had won the Rose Bowl convincingly, maybe you win the split national championship.
96, you definitely win a national championship because if had Arizona State won the Rose Bowl, they were going to be national champs.
Yep. Yeah. So that was, but it's not that way anymore. And that's not for Ohio State. That is not a bad thing that it's not that way anymore, because they have earned right now the right to be in this position where Michigan is in the spot where if they win the game, maybe they can make the college football playoff. If they lose, they're absolutely out. And, Texas right now is playing Texas A&M in that same position where if they win this game, maybe you're in. If you lose, you're definitely not. Ohio State has won enough to this point of the season where they're 11-0, and everyone I think is going, well, you haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, they ain't played nobody.
They're saying they haven't really done anything yet, but by doing what they've done so far, they've earned the right to be in a spot where you have a little bit of margin for error, but also that means you can play a little looser, and you makes that to me makes it less likely that you're gonna have to need to use that margin for error.
Yeah, and everybody sounds like they're loose, and everybody is loose. That's great during the week. I still want to see it during the game, and we've seen this team before, or last year, being down 2 scores to Penn State at home, on the road in Happy Valley, and they were able to come back, and they've been down in other games and were able to come back. They've not yet been in that situation this year. How long have they trailed this year? Maybe like 5 minutes of game time, if that. And
maybe.
So they've not been in a situation of life or death football wise. And so there's a question of how they will respond to that. We've seen Michigan in that situation sort of against Northwestern, in that they needed a drive to come back to win that. However, they'd already lost 2 prior games. So, technically, yes, their playoff hopes were still kept alive, and they've had to win a game late. Ohio State has not had to do that. So there's question of, can they? And also, when you haven't had to do that, there's just tons of questions about your schedule so far. And it's like, is everything inflated because of the schedule that they've played? And while certainly some of it is, I think you can look at this team and see a bunch of talented players and a bunch of first-round picks on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. This is a game where you could. This is going to be a challenge. I mean, someone is saying, this is Ohio State's toughest game. Yeah. I think this. I think unquestionably this is Ohio State's toughest game yet, because Texas game 1, it was very much a feeling out process, and I think both teams are substantially better than they were week 1, which is, that's the norm for college football teams.
I think Texas is more talented, but this is a tougher game for several reasons. Being on the road is certainly one.
Yeah.
The fact that you're banged up by this time of year, and Bryce Underwood is a better quarterback than he was early in the season. I think playing Michigan at the start of the season, which I always say Ohio State should, I think that's the best time to do it. But if you're playing Bryce Underwood August 30th, it's much different than November 30th. So they're going to get the best Bryce Underwood. And certainly I don't know that they got the best Arch Manning. But overall, I think there's more talent in Texas. But the way things have been put together, the road situation, the rivalry situation, the confidence that Michigan has, because I don't know how much confidence Texas came into that game with. Michigan's going to come into this game with confidence, at least for the start.
Yeah, I think they're going to. Come in with a lot of confidence. Michigan is, on Monday, Chiron Moore was about as relaxed as you'll see a coach, and then Ryan Day on Tuesday was kind of much the same. I think Ryan Day is coming in knowing he probably has the more talented team, and he also knows there's a little bit of margin for error here. And Chiron Moore is coming in going, well, I've only been the coach once, and I've beaten this team twice, so you have and he, if he falls to 2-1 against Ohio State, that is probably not the end of his time as Michigan's head coach. And if they win, then you're potentially in the college football playoff. So they have a lot to gain and not a whole ton to lose. And I think Ohio State has, Ohio State can gain, freedom from the narrative around the last couple of seasons. But also, this is not a, if they lose, this is not a season-defining thing. So these are two teams that could potentially play a little bit free and not be having to. I mean, like Ohio State in that Texas game was it was like both teams were trying to choke the life out of the game. Ohio State was very clearly feeling like, well, there's not a lot of, there's not a lot that Texas is going to do on offense. So you're up by 7 points, you're up by 14 points. Just keep it simple and don't make a mistake. This is a game where, Ohio State doesn't want to make a mistake, but Ohio State also can go in and, assuming you do have Jeremiah Smith, assuming you do have Carnell Tate, you can take some shots downfield. You don't need to play in a phone booth like they did in week 1 with Julian Sayin, because Julian Sayin has shown a lot of growth and a lot of development between week 1 and now.
And I think if Ohio State is more aggressive, that forces Michigan to be more aggressive, which I don't think is necessarily Michigan's game or what they'd want to do in this one. So if you can force them to have to throw the ball more, that leads to more potential problems, more potential turnovers. And that's not just interceptions, but fumbles. Bryce Underwood can be careless with the ball. And if Michigan starts pressing, then that's another positive for Ohio State in this one. And I don't think Ohio State needs to press to be aggressive. That's just the nature of their offense. That's, they'll want to attack downfield. If Michigan doesn't allow that, they have no problem staying patient. It's just a matter of converting and picking up those third downs if there are any, and just staying consistent and overcoming the one negative play in a series of like 5 or 6 plays that dooms the drive, whether that's a hold, a tackle for loss, an incompletion on 2nd and 10, something like that. If you can just avoid that and just stay consistent, and 7 yards a pop will work.
Oh yeah. If Ohio State can stay on schedule with the run game, that really puts Michigan behind the 8 ball. If Michigan can stay on schedule, they can continue to function as an offense. If Michigan is behind schedule, and by schedule, we're saying 4 yards on first down, 4 yards on second down, or half of what you need on second down, and then get to, pick up whatever you need on third down. They just need to stay in second and manageable, third and manageable. If it's 3rd and 8, Michigan is not in a spot where Michigan wants to be, because that means Ohio State is in a predictable pass rush situation. And are they going to bring all sorts of pressure? Maybe. Are they going to show a bunch of pressure, trying to get you to get the ball out quickly and drop a bunch of guys into coverage? Maybe. And you're at that point, Chip Lindsey, it's, you at that point as an offense, you become like a guess hitter in baseball, where it's like, well, I think a curveball is coming. And if it's the express, well, I am in deep trouble, because I do not have, at that point, the ball's past you. And that's where, do you think Ohio State's going to blitz? If you do, then you're going to call a screen. But then if they don't blitz, then you're in trouble. And that's where I think Ohio State could, if they can get Michigan behind the sticks, if you can just get them in 3rd and long, Ohio State is in a much more, again, assuming they have everyone that we're sort of assuming they're going to have. If you've got Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and Brandon Innes and Max Clare, then 3rd and 8 looks like, okay, fine, sure, why not?
If Michigan is in 3rd and long in this one, they're going to lose against. We've mentioned this on previous shows that against USC and Oklahoma, their 2 losses, 5 of 23 total on 3rd downs. And if they're some measure of that in this game, it's very, very bad news. They can't go 3rd and long because Bryce Underwood struggles with completions downfield. And when I say downfield, I mean 10 yards downfield. He struggles. This completion percentage gets way lower. So it's something to keep in mind. They don't want to be there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they try to stay on schedule.
Geiger releases a 5 towards Tom's exoneration from the Livonia cot. Listen, we're going to we'll do our best. The good news is, generally by the end of these weeks, I am generally tired enough that it's like, yeah, you want to sleep on the floor, that's fine. You want to sleep in the bathtub, that's fine. It's fine.
We got a big nice SUV outside. There's plenty of room in there as well.
The dog is not going to be waking me up to walk her at 5 a.m. So it's doing. I'm doing just fine. Here's an interesting one from. Vinny wants to know, is Devin Sanchez an X factor for the defense with Lorenzo Styles Jr.'s shoulder injury? I think he plays, but Sanchez is definitely the future of the secondary. Could be a lot like Tyvis Powell was in 2013. We don't have the availability report yet, but based on everything we've heard, Lorenzo Styles is practicing this week. So my expectation is that Lorenzo Styles is playing this week. So if Lorenzo Styles is playing, then I assume you're going to continue to see Devin Sanchez in the dime role, which is the role that Lorenzo Styles was in last year. So you're going to see that, but this is not a team where I'm expecting them to play a lot of dime, because that's not, Michigan is not a go 4 wide kind of team, because they don't really have the 4 wide receivers that if you're going 4 wide, this is kind of the opposite of Ohio State, where if you go 4, if you put a bunch of tight ends in the game, you're pulling good wide receivers off the field. If Michigan goes, if Michigan goes 4 wide, you're pulling whoever, Hogan Hansen or
Marlon Klein,
Zach Marshall. You're pulling some of those guys off the field. You're pulling Jordan Marshall off the field, whoever it is.
Because when we talk about Michigan's pass receivers, probably 2 of their 4 best would be Zach Marshall and Marlon Klein, and the other 2 would be Andrew Marsh and Donovan McCulley. So when you are 3rd and 13, those might be the 4 that you've got out there, which is the same that might be out there on 1st and 10. So I don't know how much of a need there will ever be to go out. There will certainly be some dime out there. They'll throw it out there just because you're not going to be running on 3rd and 16 or whatever. So they'll just throw out the best coverage out there. But I'm with you. I think Lorenzo Styles practicing this week means he's going to play. How long he can play, that's another question. Takes 1 hit, 1 bad landing, and then he's out. And we saw what happened last week when he went out. They put in Bryce West at nickel, and they kept Jermaine Matthews because it's been a rough stretch of games for Devin Sanchez. And when he's in there, they attack him immediately. The first play, Bryce West was in there. They went right after him.
Oh yeah.
He held up, was good in coverage, did not allow the completion. So whoever is in there, and frankly, we talked about it earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if they target Lorenzo Styles because, I mean, at this point, if you're looking at Ohio State's secondary, and it's going to be, well, I can either attack Jermaine Matthews or Davison Igbinosun.
Nope.
So you go with the guy that, and that's why you might see more of Andrew Marsh in the slot until, as you mentioned, Ohio State decides, well, we can't allow this. And that's also assuming that Lorenzo Styles is giving up catches in the slot to Andrew Marsh because that's not a sure thing either.
Yep. We got a super chat from Fort Wayne Buckeye. Even as a part of the media, do you guys still get nervous or butterflies before games like this?
It's not the nerve. It's just like the event.
Yeah. It's, I mean, this is something we look forward to every year. When I'm on the field and it's the fourth quarter, like 2023, last time we were up here, Ohio State's driving down the field with a chance to win, down 6 points in the final minute or 2 minutes, whatever it was. I'm not thinking, oh boy, I hope they score, or oh boy, I'm so nervous, will they score? I'm thinking, where's Marvin Harrison? Where's Cade Stover? What are they? Okay, it's 2nd and 7. They have one timeout left. What are they? Are they going to throw an out route? I'm trying to anticipate where the ball might go because my job is to look through the camera, and if I see Kyle McCord drop back, okay, Kyle McCord is scanning the field over here. Who is he looking for? Where is that receiver going to be? If it's Marvin Harrison's over here, then I'm probably looking for maybe they're running the 9 route. If it's Cade Stover, they're probably running something shorter over the middle. Where is he looking? Where do I have to pop my lens out and go find it so then I can get the camera there, find the receiver, get focused, and then get it before the ball gets there so I have a photo. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not when you are working these games, you experience them in a completely different way than if you're watching the game. And
Fort Wayne, I'm going to see if YouTube can give you your money back. I know you didn't want a camera question on that. I apologize for that. Nobody, but in terms of it's always a big game. It's always an event. So it's always something to look forward to get excited about. And we talked about it earlier today. When you walk into either of these stadiums, you realize, okay, this is not just a game. This is history that's being taking place. And you're privileged to be in it, watching it as it happens, seeing all the things. And like even Jack mentioned the video that I posted on Twitter. And at one point in that video, I think it's probably after, like maybe before JT Barrett clearly picks up the 4th down. And I'm just talking to somebody. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's same thing. Kyle McCord driving down the field against all odds. Like, this is awesome. Like, and watching that 2016 game, going back and forth on the sideline, because I'm usually up in the press box nice and comfortable. Tom watches all of these, but I don't have to shoot it when we're down. When after like the 5-minute mark of the 4th quarter, we're allowed down onto the field, and being down there for those overtimes and just walking back from each end zone to each end zone, it's incredible to view something like that that is going to stand the test of time and people are going to remember forever. And you're right there. I think that's always a possibility. Not at Michigan because I'm not allowed down on the field. Neither is Kevin. Tom somehow weasels his way in there because he wears a vest. But the opportunity to be around history, I think, is very cool.
Yeah, for sure. And the year that really kind of brought that home to me, like the job is I'm in a spot where most people can't be. And so my job is to show you, like, what is it like this close? What is actually happening when you're not watching on TV? The year that drove that home was 2020, when it's like, oh, there's no one here. Like we are literally the only people. Like the Indiana game, the biggest regular season game that season, was the game where they didn't even let the parents in. There were 538 people or 536 people or whatever it was in the stadium that day, including the players, including the coaches, including the officials, including everyone. That's it. And so that was the year that really, like, if you didn't get it before then you really got it, like shooting the video around campus. Like, what is it like walking around campus? It is spooky. There is no one here.
It is spooky. I mean, Michigan didn't even show up to the 2020 Michigan game. You're looking around and it's like, where where is everybody? Where is the football team? Yes, very spooky.
So yeah, so that's a little bit of our day. Should we? I guess we can talk a little bit about what we're planning for tomorrow, and we have a million questions.
I want to find out.
I sent you a long email. There were many words.
CLDR.
Volume 1 of the email. It was the plan for tomorrow. We'll get there early. We can't get in until 9:00. Once we get into the stadium, Tony and Kevin will be up in the press box. They will be doing a live show. I will be down. We got to kind of run around, get some tripods set up for post-game stuff. And then Ohio State team arrival is at 9:50. So I think we're trying to start the post-game show 9:30, 9:40. Pregame show 9:30, 9:40. Try and get you down so we can get a view of Ohio State's team arrival at 9:50, Michigan's team arrival at 10:10. Try and get you some behind-the-scenes stuff. I heard Chuck and Kevin talking about the tunnel. The tunnel is a pretty unique thing in college football. You have two teams going down the same tunnel. The locker rooms only come out. There's only one way on and off the field, unless you're going to go through the stands. There's only one way on and off the field at Michigan. I'll shoot a video there so you can just sort of see where everything is. Where's the Michigan locker room? Where's the Ohio State locker room? Why do you constantly see these videos of players pushing and shoving? Like pregame tomorrow, there will probably be video of Dane Sands. Grant Schwartz.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Schwartz shoving some guy, and Marcus Hall walking off the field, and all that stuff. That's all right in that tunnel. So we'll give you kind of a behind the scenes look there. So that's that. Doreen says we have it better than the Redcoats. It's true, we do.
But the Redcoats work much harder.
They do.
And for much less fanfare.
And
the fanfare that we get was amazing. Earlier, you guys saw being approached by people while we're doing live saying, hey, love the work you do. Well, I do the same thing when I see the Redcoats.
Mm-hmm.
Love the work you do.
Yeah.
I know you're working. Try not to bother you.
Said that to Doreen. I saw Doreen a couple weeks ago.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, yep.
The people I don't like.
He's right there. So do we have other stuff we want to get to in terms of game breakdown? Do we want to do some questions right now?
Let's do questions because I think we've broken this thing down as much as we
Yeah. If you want to hear us talk about this game, great news. There are 47 podcasts in which you can hear that.
And to my credit and to your credit, I don't know that we've just repeated ourselves.
No.
Despite what people may be hearing.
Yeah. So, and we can get you. Well, let's see. I'm going to put up the video of the team arrival just so you can see that, and so hopefully that's not too loud, and you'll be able to hear us above this. So let's see. We'll pop this up. There you go. So this is the team arrival at the hotel a little earlier. It's and this is a camera that I set up and just put the walkway studio. Yes. There we go. All right, that's better. So this is the team arrival at the hotel, and this is about 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago now. And this is just I'll let you know if there's anyone notable who's walking by during the video, just so you can sort of tell. I know it's dark. The setup at that hotel is very the lighting there is not the TV style lighting.
It's like they don't even care.
Yeah, that's Brian Hartline, I believe, walking past you right there. There's Billy Fessler. There is, I believe that's Nate Roberts.
Look at you.
Yeah, there's Tyler Bowen. Yeah, it's I think is that Carson Hinsman with that bright shock of blonde hair. Carson Hinsman has gotten easier to pick out. There's Matt Patricia. He's about to walk through that light there. Tim Hinton, yep. So just some of the guys.
There's a third bus off.
Right. Yeah. There were multiple buses and could not get everyone all at once. That was painful. I noticed going by that Padilla. You can sort of see the guys coming in, and they're really, the question was, okay, is Jeremiah Smith, is Carnell Tate going to be there? The answer is yes. Brian Day later clarified, yes. Great news, they made the trip. So And we'll play that Ryan Day interview again for you in a minute, because let you just sort of hear his answer on that, because just the look on his face as he's saying it is a little bit telling to me. See if there's anyone else notable coming through. Generally, once you get towards the back of the bus, it's going to be mostly younger guys. And, the fact that you have not seen Jeremiah Smith here is not a reason to be concerned. As Tony said, there's a whole other bus or two off to the left, and guys who are not walking past where this camera position.
Plus, like Woody Hayes, you send in the backups on the first bus.
That was a trip to State College, and it's extremely short runway. So, all right, so I think we've gotten pretty much everyone there. I think that is going to be Carlos Laughlin coming in there. He tends to be one of the last people coming into the stadium on Saturdays, coming out of the tunnel before games. There you go. So, all right, that should be everyone. So pop that out of there real quick.
Coach Locke, he's the last one in, locks the door so nobody can get out.
Yep. So Fort Wayne Buckeye wants to know, after the Buckeyes win and you do a 4-hour post-game show, who gets to drive back to Columbus in the snow? Well, great news, Tony. You're the one on the rental car.
I just got a DM from somebody up north saying, well, you enjoy the drive home tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And we're kind of going to be racing a little bit of snow in that area. A 4-hour post-game, here's the thing. The place closes 3 hours after the game. So... And if we're going to be outside doing this post game, and we might be, if we're out there for 3 hours, we're going to be out there forever because we will be frozen.
The post game show is sponsored by the Triangle Lot. Yeah. It's possible.
Well,
sponsored by the Triangle Lot and $1,000 in super chats.
That's not where the car is.
But we can move it there. Have the stadium in the background.
Next one. Do you think Ann Arbor is a nice campus? Like, I will say, I lived up here for a few years, not in Ann Arbor, but about half an hour from here for like 3 years. And yeah, this is a very nice area. Ann Arbor is a very nice city. Michigan's got a very nice campus. Like this is a perfectly nice place to live, to go to school. Like it's I know this is not the answer that everyone wants, but like this is I have always thought this is a very nice city.
It's a crap hole. That's the right answer.
That was Kevin.
Yes.
He only speaks for Kevin, as we all know. I mean, really, when we go around the Big Ten, we don't always see the campuses. Sometimes we get to walk through campus to get to from the parking garage to the stadium. Like, what is not a good, like Purdue, Illinois, and I love Illinois Stadium, what they've done with it. But like, is there anything memorable about Purdue? I like Michigan State. You've got the river right there.
Yeah.
Washington, it's fine. I mean, you've got the water, and you got all of this fancy, beautiful foliage and all of this nice stadium. I like Nebraska, even though we're not necessarily haven't really gone too much into the campus area, but I love Wisconsin. Like I like most places.
Yeah. Iowa City's very nice. Haven't been there in a while. Penn State, like central Pennsylvania is probably not for everyone, but if you were if you were not a big city person, then unlike Henry County here, if you're not a big city person, then that's not that is kind of a nice little town. That's kind of a nice little town. Yeah, you can have your mileage may vary on. I would guess that the people who like Iowa City are not going to be the same people that like College Park, Maryland, or New Brunswick / Piscataway, New Jersey. Like, there's a little bit of your mileage may vary, but Eugene, Oregon last year, we had a good time in Eugene, Oregon. We had a good time in Seattle. We had a good, Minneapolis is a nice, Minnesota is a nice campus. Madison, it's impossible to have a bad time in Madison.
It is.
You mentioned East Lansing and the Red Cedar River. Like, that's a great spot. Like, I am hard pressed to think of a Big Ten campus that I'm like, no thanks.
I've never been to USC's campus.
No, USC's a big city campus. So if you've been to LA, so we've never been to USC's campus, but I bet it takes an hour to get there, no matter how far away you are.
I've been to Indiana, so I've been to LA.
There you go. At Potato Shirt Super Chat, if the score is tied at half, which team is more likely to try an onside to start the third? Thanks for the great coverage all season. So if the score's tied, yeah, I think which team's more likely to try an onside? The answer is Michigan, because Michigan is going to be playing. Michigan is going to be playing with less of a margin for error, so they're going to have to be a little more creative. I think the answer is probably still Michigan, but the argument against it in this scenario is laid out. If the score's tied at half, the argument against it would be that does Michigan want to? If Michigan is holding Ohio State on
well,
Michigan's
what's the
defense
score?
is holding.
It's tied.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
is it
that's
31-31?
That's true. In my head, it was 10-10,
Yeah,
but I
no.
guess it doesn't. Yeah, I'm struggling to imagine it being 31-31 at halftime. But if it is, I think anyone is going to. If it's 31-31 at halftime, I think whoever's kicking it off is doing an onside kick.
Because if it's 10-10, I feel like, again, it's unlikely. And if it's Ohio State, the thought going through their mind is nobody's expecting this.
Mhm.
We've got a good defense, but then also you lost last year by giving Michigan short fields.
Yeah.
Now, a 7-yard scoring drive and a 4-yard scoring drive is much different than a 45-yard scoring drive, but still, you lost last year because you gave Michigan short fields. So
and
you want to avoid that.
Yeah, you also lost last year because you had long fields. They really lost a position field, battle of field position last year. They ended up starting inside their own 15, 10, a bunch last year, which sort of limited what they could do on offense. That was sort of one of the underappreciated elements of why that game played out the way that it did. So in this case, you're not necessarily giving up points, but you're giving up 30 yards of field position or whatever it is. So yeah, I think the answer is Michigan, but there are scenarios where it could be Ohio State, but I think those would be real edge case scenarios.
Can I give you a scenario? 27-0, 27-3, Ohio State leading at the half, starting off third quarter with an onside kick.
Is Mike Loxley? Mike Loxley's not on the Michigan staff, right?
Like, you don't want to give Michigan momentum, and that could.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't need it to throw a knockout punch because you're already throwing plenty of punches. Eventually, you're going to fall. So, but if you want to throw a scenario out there.
Yeah, well, and I don't know that that would even be an after the half thing. That might be it's 24-3, you kick a field goal, go up 27-3, and then you do it. And something like that.
There's like 40 seconds left in the half, and you're just trying to get
maybe, but even then you're setting them up with a short field to give Dominic Zavada a shot. Boy, I sure hope that is that
Reed?
Yeah, it's Reed. Texas A&M's quarterback looked like he might have had a non-contact injury. That would not be good for them. Vinny says Chiron Moore does bring a lot of energy that not even Harbaugh brought, in my opinion. I think it is. Yeah, that looks real bad. Marcel Reed, the quarterback for Texas A&M, is down and does not look good right now. Chiron Moore as Michigan's coach is night and day from Jim Harbaugh as Michigan's coach, because Chiron Moore feels like a normal human being with normal human being emotions and thoughts and thought processes and sayings, and you have not heard happy warriors on a happy journey to happy land or whatever it was a couple of years ago from Harbaugh. Chiron Moore just seems like, Chiron Moore and Ryan Day, like, Lord knows these are two fan bases that do not care for the opposing coach, but those seem like two pretty normal human beings in big jobs, as opposed to like Urban Meyer and Jim Harbaugh, where it was beep boop, does not know football, does not compute. This is a totally different thing now.
You have two human beings that are coaching these two programs, and they probably hate each other's guts. It's like,
oh yeah,
two decent people who just cannot, for obvious reasons. But Jim Harbaugh, talking with him, it was always difficult. Urban, it was okay to talk to, but he's a robot as well, just a different kind of programming. I think maybe there's more programming for Urban, where there's less programming for Harbaugh. It's like, early AI versus late AI, that sort of thing. And Jim Harbaugh is very early AI, so there's only so much that you're going to get out of him. But also, Tom, remember, when they were losing 4 games a year, for a few years in there until about 2019, 2020. We kept saying he does not look like he's having any fun. There's no energy.
Mm-mm.
It's just completely dead.
Mhm.
There's no fun in that program. And then,
And then he found himself a vacuum cleaner salesman.
found himself something, like when you get a daughter, like a little daughter, like you do, and she's like, "Daddy, can I have a pony?
Mhm.
I can do you one better. I can get you some stallions."
Just gonna let that one breathe for a minute, like just swirl the red around in the glass a little bit. That one's got a nose on it. All right, next one from Vinny. Do you guys think they'll avoid unnecessary penalties? Presumably, I think Vinny might be a Michigan fan, but presumably Ohio State avoiding unnecessary penalties. Just feel like someone will let the emotions get the best of them in the moment.
Yeah, and that's been a message all week long, and for years now. Ryan Day says it all the time: play with emotion, don't let emotion play with you. Especially in this one. And I think Carson Hinsman said something similar in terms of you can't be doing extracurricular stuff in this game. I guess do it before the game. No, don't do it at all. But it's really darn difficult to get so ramped up for this and then compose yourself. Clearly, I mean, we've seen fights in this game. We've seen, and maybe that's the time to get your stuff in, your shoves in, is when when you know it's all going to be offset, offsetting penalties. Go get your shoves in. Don't throw any punches. No kicks. No knees. No biting. But a couple of pushes. Maybe you can get away with it. But really, the team that I guess does the best with penalties, and because I think really penalties will help Michigan a lot, helps them move the ball, but also penalties against Ohio State's offense, where as long as they're on schedule, I think they're going to score. The way to keep them from scoring is get them off schedule through penalties.
Yeah.
And I think in this game, for either team, holding penalty is pretty much going to doom that drive.
Yeah.
And so don't get caught, basically.
Yeah, that's good advice for lots of different. That actually ties into the last comment, the last conversation as well. Dave K wants to know: Will Tom be planting a tripod at midfield if he wins bold predictions? Well, now I will. Marshall Reed up and jogging. So Texas A&M may have avoided what looked like it might have been an absolute disaster. Had Jordan Travis's name in my head there for a minute. And thought, oh boy. Probably not going to plant a tripod. I'm fascinated at what this post-game scene is going to be, regardless of who wins. I mean, Chiron Moore on Monday said they've talked about it. They have a plan. They're going to go celebrate with it. Then you're going to go game ends. You're going to go shake hands. You're going to go, if you win, you go celebrate with your fans, your bands, and all that stuff. Go celebrate with the student section, whatever it is. If Ohio State wins,
they're going right to midfield.
You think?
I think so.
I could see, maybe
and midfield, and then off to St. Carmen, Ohio, to the Ohio State fans and their family.
Yeah,
but I think they're going to take a circuitous route, unless maybe midfield is on the way. But I also don't we're talking some big presumptions.
Midfield is not on the way for Ohio State. Ohio State's banned and is in the corner. If you're watching on TV, Ohio State's band is in the upper right corner of the end zone. And then the Ohio State sideline is the far sideline. So, they would come across presumably to shake hands and say hello and all of that. But they would not have to go over midfield to get to where the band is. So,
and that's a level of talking to your team on Friday. Hey, when we win, let's not do this. Let's not do that. Our coaches. So these are paranoid people. Yeah. Aren't they too paranoid to say, hey, when we win, let's not do this? Is that something you don't want to put out in the ether? But also, if we win, we just go and we sing our alma mater, we shake hands, whatever. Let's not get caught up in anything, because this is just one game. It's the first of the first game on the trophy schedule, the award schedule, the hardware schedule now that they're playing. And this is just one game. It doesn't guarantee them the next game or the next game after that. So they want to treat it like any other, the routine things. Like, what's their routine after a win?
Yeah.
So do they stick to that?
Yeah.
The bulk of the team may. But I think there's going to
Right.
be a couple people
Yeah.
that might
Yeah.
head to midfield.
I did see the someone say, I bet most people, here it is. Vinny says, I hope we just avoid the flag stuff. Why do I feel like it would be one of the cornerbacks to do it? Because, well, have you seen cornerback? Cornerbacks tend to have big reactions on the field. So why would that be not true the case after the game as well? Cornerbacks and wide receivers generally are.
I was on with Steve Hellwagon on with Bill and Doug on there around the shoe show, and the question was who would plant a flag, and started talking about probably Jermaine Matthews, unless like Davis Nigbenosin takes it from him, that sort of thing. But also, planting flags on turf is dumb because the flag doesn't stay there. So now you have to hold it. So you're not planting a flag; you're just holding a flag.
Yeah. And one thing that's interesting, we were not in the facility for Michigan interviews on Monday this week, but in previous years we've been in there. And there's like their football facility, Schimbeckler Hall, and there's a museum next door. Now I'm forgetting the name of the museum, but it's like a little museum of Michigan football, basically. And they have footballs from all of their wins. There's a huge wall of footballs, and here's a picture of Bo Schimbeckler at the Rose Bowl and his whistle and his headset, and here's the Rose Bowl trophy he won and whatever.
Yeah, I believe it's called Connor's Honors.
And one of the things they have in there, the first thing when you walked in the door a couple of years ago, this was 2023 when we walked in there and saw this, was they have the flag that they planted at midfield in Columbus and the, a big picture and the newspaper headlines and whatever else. Like it is not something they've shied away from. And I do remember last year I was in the Michigan postgame after the game, and I think it was Donovan Edwards who, basically said, well, they had the flag planting, and then you had the fight, and then you had the pepper spray. And Donovan Edwards' take was, they've got to learn how to they've got to lose with class. So, if Ohio State does do that, if someone does do that, I'll be fascinated to see what the reaction to that is, because it's
Ryan Day did say there's going to be some videos shown of you can imagine what's going to be on those videos.
Here's an interesting one from Ralph. Ralph with a Michigan helmet in his logo, and Ralph Go Blue as his trying to provide, in the spirit of sportsmanship, trying to provide a potential upside for Ohio State fans. If Ohio State loses, there is a bright side. LSU will be the 5th seed and get the G5 team in the playoffs. Looking at some of the scenarios in the playoff, you might be better off being the 5 seed.
You get the 5 and then the 4.
You get the 12, which is going to be
right.
Tulane or someone like that, and then you get the 4 seed. I'm going to find the playoff rankings from this week. Make sure that's not the right one.
And again, Ohio State has never lost a 12-team playoff after losing to Michigan. So
that's true.
There is history on their side if that were to happen.
Yes. So I'll just pop this up real quickly. This is the rankings from this week, just so you can sort of see where things stand right now. And this is obviously going into this week and a lot of stuff still to come. Ohio State as the 1 seed, assuming, if the playoff started today, which obviously it doesn't, but Ohio State as the 1 seed would play Oklahoma and Notre Dame, the Oklahoma-Notre Dame winner, which to me is probably Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a team I wouldn't be super thrilled to see as an Ohio State fan. If you're the 5 seed, you get Tulane, which, fine. And then you get Georgia, which that's the other team I probably wouldn't be super thrilled to see, although Georgia did not look amazing against Georgia Tech today. But if you can fall to the 4 seed, then you get Texas Tech and Tulane, and Texas Tech is like wildly unproven right now. I think there's several spots on that bracket that I might rather be than the 1 seed. I think the number 2 seed might be in a better spot than the number 1 seed. If you have to play Notre Dame and Georgia in your first 2 games, that wouldn't, that's obviously, again, this is not the final bracket. Ohio State still has to win 2 more games to be the number 1 seed. But other than, you get to go to the Rose Bowl, which, again, if you get to go there, if your team is there, you should make that trip, because that is awesome. It is my favorite place to watch a game. Great experience. You should make that trip. But the number 1 seed on that bracket is not a particularly advantageous spot to be, I don't think.
No, and it'll be interesting to see this year if once again it does not pay to be the number one seed because it certainly did not pay for Oregon last year. And, it's the product of teams getting better over the course of a year and losing in different parts of the year, like Ohio State did last year. And then they run into Oregon after a decent Tennessee game, like for sure. But like they just jump-started themselves last year. And it's like, okay, we're full speed now.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw you score 10 points against Michigan.
Yeah.
And then you came in and then you went and whooped up on Tennessee and then you did the same thing to Oregon. And it was impressive last year. This year, they seem to be on a much better trajectory. We'll see what happens though.
Yep. JJ Smith season says, I'm late. So are Smith, Tate, and Lorenzo playing? So we can tell you all three of those guys are here. Ryan Day did confirm they're all here. Lorenzo Styles was supposedly practicing all week. So I don't think there's really much of a conversation around him. I think I would fully expect him to play. Carnell, Jeremiah, they're here. The smile on Ryan Day's face, and we'll play this in a minute. We'll play this in a minute so you can see it and judge for yourself. But the smile, the kind of little smirk on Ryan Day's face as he answered that question would lead me to believe that, they're not out. I think we can safely say they're not out. Right. We can say they're here. It's cold tomorrow. Do they wake up and someone is stiff that they, something happens? We'll see. They're here. I don't have any reason to believe they're out. We'll see how it goes tomorrow morning. But I mean, here, let's just play the Ryan Day video. This is the team arrival earlier, just so you can sort of see Ryan Day. We'll let you just hear the whole interview just for people who joined us late. So this will be like the team bus is pulling up and then Ryan Day getting off the bus. And then I have to kind of like hustle over to go get a good spot, but you'll be able to hear the whole thing. We'll play the whole interview for you. And then we'll answer some more questions. If you do have more questions, throw them in the chat for us. But
lock at the bottom, please. Thanks.
We'll walk over here around the side so that we can hear that.
Ryan, are Jeremiah and Carnell here? Very good to go?
They are on the trip and looking for a good night of preparation. We just flew in. It was a great flight, and looking forward to having great preparation tonight. We'll continue to do that all the way to kickoff. But
Coach,
they're here and excited.
How do you think your team prepared for this test?
Well, very similar to how we have all year. A little extra focus, just a different look in their eye this week, and so I want to continue that tonight, and then wake up in the morning with great energy and go get a win.
I know the emotion.
I know it's an early lights out for you on these noon games. How do you guys actually sleep on a night like this before a game like this?
Well, it's funny, that's why you try to get sleep early in the week because it's a little bit harder for a game like this for sure. But we'll do the same routine and make sure you have a great meal and do bed check and get them to bed early.
You talk about playing with emotion, but not let emotion play with you. How do you slowly let that balance out here as you ramp up and get closer to kickoff?
Well, you just keep talking to the guys about it, have a plan when they get on the field and what that comes with, and just been talking to it talking about it every day, all week, about what that looks like and the focus that needs to happen in this game, and we all have to do our job. And that's really what it comes down to. In any type of mission, everybody has a job they have to do, and they have to execute it when they get on the field.
Right.
So, that's been it, and that's going to continue to be the best way to kick off.
Do you feel like you have a good handle on what kind of weather conditions you're going to face, or you just have to kind of roll with the punches tomorrow?
Yeah, I think kind of like this. Maybe some snow later in the game, but no, it's the same for both teams, and can't wait for it.
You've got feet on the ground now inside the state of Michigan. What is it like to be here and the excitement as we approach this?
There's a good bounce on everybody's step right now. So, we'll just focus on tonight, having a good meal, and keeping the guys locked in. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. That was head coach.
Can I mention a good bounce in everybody's step tonight, even those who might be ailing or questionable or otherwise?
A lot of that was in parentheses after the direct quote, but that's okay. We'll report that as accurately as we can. Geiger Lee says, there's only one battle to win. Scoreboard. Please remember that, Ryan. I think that's a lesson that Ryan Day learned last year, that you don't need to win the game a certain way. And he learned that last year to the point that we've heard that from him. We've heard that from him again. We've heard that from players. We've heard that from, everyone this week. We can always tell what the message inside the locker room is.
Because we hear those words coming out of everyone's mouth, and that was one of the things that we heard coming out of everyone's mouth this week.
I also think last year he talked so much about toughness. We haven't really heard that much this year. The message this year has been routine. And so they've gone from being the tougher team, which every team strives to do, to let's just do what we do. And it's always about us. And as long as we're where we need to be, we're going to be okay. And so they're sticking to their routine. And again, we'll see.
Here's a good we'll see. Dave wants to know, has anyone thought about the weather? Don't care it affects the game, just making sure Tom packed enough layers. Yes, I was in 3 layers for the team arrival. We'll probably be in 3 layers again tomorrow. So I will probably look a little like Ralphie's brother in A Christmas Story on the field, between 3 layers and then a photo vest on top of that. It'll kind of look like the Michelin Man, but yeah, it'll be fine. It won't be. This will not be as cold as the Tennessee game last year was, and when you're down on the field, it's fine. Like, and if you're in the stands, you're fine because you're packed in so tightly. Like you do not get 110,000 people in a stadium by having lots of elbow room between people. So if you're there, the players on the field will be running around, they'll be fine, and everyone else will be packed in tightly enough that they'll be fine. So yeah, it should be fine.
The hourly forecast, kickoff 29 degrees, rising to 30 degrees by the end of the game with some possible snow in the 3 o'clock hour, most likely after that, though.
So I'm hearing post-game show snow.
Well, again,
Post-game snow.
we'll see how long we were out there. We'll be out there as long as we can stand it, or as long as I can stand it, because I'm dainty.
How many?
I'm precious.
How many super chats for Tony to do a snow angel on the field, win or lose? And I will remind you, you are committing to do this, win or lose.
No, I have not. First, there's not going to be any snow to Angel.
$1,000, you say. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Tony Gerdeman. Brackets, will do snow angels for, you heard it.
Name here.
Name here. Geiger Lee, this is a great question. Is this the first game of the year when these two teams might not defer to the second half?
Routine. You got to stick with the routine, and I don't think taking the ball first here is a good idea for either team. In big games like this, I always say go defense first, let the other team screw around, and because you're asking a lot to be able to just execute on that first drive with your offense when things are ramped up as possible. Even though, Tom, it's scripted, this is your best opportunity. I think you got to let things calm down, and it's by the time you get out there for that second drive, you might be better off, more ready to go because the game is it's begun now.
Yeah.
Like when you get the ball first, you're beginning it. When you get the ball second, it's already begun.
Right. Yeah. Ryan Day is such a big believer in that middle 8 that I really struggle to see him being willing to not do that. And I think I'm sure they would love to go out, and if you told him, I guarantee you will score a touchdown on the open drive. Yeah, then maybe he does it, but there are no guarantees. If Michigan gets the ball first and you stop them, or you can turn them over or whatever, maybe take the crowd out of the game a little bit. Set the offense up for the short field.
It's breaking serve.
Yeah, exactly. This is one from way earlier, but it was still starred in here. So hopefully we got to this one earlier. Deb and Paul, valued members of BuckeyeHuddle.com. Appreciate you guys. Can you say happy anniversary to my husband, Paul, which I would guess that means that probably happy anniversary to Deb as well. Yes.
All right.
Paul recovering from his second knee replacement, 36 years, November 30th. Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Man, those joint replacements, I don't know. That is a rough one, but once you get through it, this is me speaking for older relatives who have had them, but it is life-changing, which I'm guessing if it's a second one, you probably already know that, but happy anniversary and get well soon.
Happy anniversary.
Billy Tuesday says, don't know what it means, but this is the most relaxed I've seen Ryan Day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it means, well, we'll find out, but it sure seems like it means something. And he has been very relaxed. Chiron Moore is very relaxed. So something is going to, somebody's going to be lying or something's going to happen there. But we've seen a very relaxed Ryan Day all season long. He even said it back in the spring. Basically, I think it was the spring, like when he was asked, are you more relaxed? Can you relax now after winning a national championship? He's like, yeah, I can relax. I mean, it was like, there's this chuckle of, yeah, now I can actually, you can breathe a little bit as the Ohio State head coach. But again, don't lose.
Right. Well, yeah, you can breathe a little bit. don't lose this game. It's, he was relaxed in April when we had that, or March when we had that conversation. It's like, boy, you seem a little more relaxed. It's like, you think so? Like, yeah.
No doy.
Do you need me to tell you why? I bet you don't need me to tell you why. But now it's not going to be, if they lose on Saturday, it's not the same thing as it was a year ago. Because number one, you have the national championship. So he's now not the guy who can't win the big one. He's the guy who won 4 big ones in a row and then beat Texas. So that was 5 big ones in a row and has won 15 games in a row. And so if you lose one on Saturday, it's not the end of the season. It's not the end of the world. But I'm sure he would much strongly prefer to win that game on Saturday.
It is interesting how last year could be considered a big game, but wins over better teams than Michigan did not qualify as big games.
Yeah. Tyler says, I'm confident the Buckeyes are finally going to get the job done. If both teams play their A games, Ohio State wins. If both teams play their B+ games, Ohio State wins. If both teams play their C- games, Ohio State wins. Michigan would have to outplay Ohio State. And there's a certain point at which Ohio State controls that at that point. That's Ohio State controls the outcome to a certain degree, because if both teams play to their best, Ohio State wins.
What was last year? Like B- to D-, B- to F game?
Well, here's the thing. That
it was not an A game for Michigan.
It wasn't an A game for Michigan, but also given the competition, like that Michigan offense, you knew going in that Michigan offense was not going to do much. So, I don't know last year's Michigan's offense was capable of an A game. That may have been, that the scale might have ended at B- for that Michigan offense last year.
I think the grades there were just pass, fail, or S for satisfactory, like you're 6 years old.
Yeah, maybe got a crocodile in spelling. That was Michigan offense last year. Doug Shepard says the team at Buckeye Huddle went busting their hump all week. Like the video, please listen.
Doug has been awesome in the comments and all of these videos.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, man.
This is, I don't know what the context was when this came up, but Underwood's 37.5% completion percentage against top 25
That seems
teams.
very low.
That does seem low. We can pull up a Bryce Underwood game log real quick, and we can see if that's right. That does seem very low, but he did not have a great game against Oklahoma. I know he was against Oklahoma. He was 37.5%, and against USC. Well, USC he was 62.5. So, USC not a?
He's 50% against those two teams.
Okay,
combined.
yeah. So, and that was incredible. Look at you.
Yeah,
good math.
I added them all together.
I know how to thank you.
And then I divided
37.5%. That's week 2 against Oklahoma. So I think I wouldn't take that and say, well, that's what he's going to be on Saturday, because week 2 against Oklahoma, I think you could look at week 1 against Texas for Ohio State and go, they don't trust Julian Sayin to do anything. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of water under the bridge since then.
Yeah, 270 yards of total offense for Ohio State in that game. That's not how anybody's judging the Ohio State offense now.
Sam says they're in the UK. What time does the game start? It's noon Eastern for the United States.
6:15 p.m.
This is
UK's 5 hours ahead.
UK's 5 hours ahead. So 5 p.m. UK time is what I'm being told from the Peanut Gallery. Ohio Bookseller would like the Tom and Tony bold predictions. The line on Tom and Tony bold predictions. I don't know. Are you? Is it a pick 'em? Are you a slight favorite this week? What do you think?
I don't know. Now that you've introduced half points, I'm a little concerned about that. Here's the thing. What is the average score? It's usually like 1-0. It's like Iowa football. Take the under, whatever it is. Take the under. No, the number would probably be like. The scoring number for us both, is it 2.5 seems high. You might just have to go, but you don't want to go 2. You want to encourage. So I guess you have to go 1.5.
And we could push on 1.5 this week because I do have a 1.5 pointer. So possibly. This is an interesting one. Where would you rank the game tomorrow of the games past? So part of this is ask again on the post-game show tomorrow. This is a game where it's Ohio State's number 1. Michigan is also ranked. They're 15th. So you look at that and you go, well, this is going to be one of the great games. And it's like, well, Ohio State's been top 2 or 3, I think, the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's like every time these teams play, Ohio State is at least a top 5 team.
2023 was it 2 versus 3?
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody really cares about that one.
Right. And well, that one, I mean, that one was a big one because Michigan ended up winning the national championship. But 2022 was a big one. They both made the 4-team college football playoff that year. Michigan made the playoff in 21. They didn't play in 20. 2019, Ohio State made the playoff. I mean, this is just this is a game where it's number 1 versus number 15, and this just kind of feels like an average Ohio State-Michigan game at this point. It just feels like every year you've got at least one of these teams is in potential, position to make the playoffs. And this year you've got potentially 2.
I do wonder about Michigan's chance if they beat Ohio State of getting into the playoffs, because I still don't know that the committee is going to want to jump or dump out Alabama or Notre Dame in favor of Michigan. And right now, Alabama is Alabama is out. They're out of the picture by 1 game against in terms of the SEC championship game, right? It's Texas A&M and Georgia right now. Is that correct? I don't know, but I know Alabama at 10.
Texas, yes, yeah. Well, if Alabama wins out, Alabama's in. If Alabama loses, they're probably out. So if Texas beats Texas A&M tonight, that probably
They've
changes.
got 3 losses.
Yes, but if Texas is currently ahead of Michigan in the rankings, aren't they?
No.
Well,
I don't know.
Oh no, they're 1 spot behind. But if Texas beats Texas A&M and Michigan beats Ohio State, then those 2 teams are probably both right on the bubble there. Let's see. I'm just kind of going through.
But I agree.
Here's a comment of the day, Uncle Rico. This is still going. Good Lord, extremely same.
Started about 5:16.
Yeah, we're at 3.5 hours now.
5:18.
So,
if you haven't,
yes, if you haven't, please hit the thumbs up. We are going to be wrapping up things. I'm just kind of scrolling through real quick. The Indiana's up 14-3. Learning that now. Ohio State basketball up by 2 with 6 minutes left. Scrolling through these comments. Goodness gracious, you people are keeping us active. This is Buster wants to know if the drive to Ann Arbor is as bad as Happy Valley.
Oh,
like,
no.
No. Yeah, it's Happy Valley is at least 5 hours, and then sometimes it's another 5 hours once you actually get off the highway trying to get into the stadium. Yeah, and there's been comments about the Chiron Moore, is he coaching for his job or anything like that? No, Chiron Moore is not close to getting fired, as Ralph says. He's in a, I think there was conversation about that earlier in the year where, if they had lost the Purdue and Northwestern games that they could have lost, and they're coming in here at 7-4, and then you lose by 20-something points tomorrow, then you're going to probably have a conversation. They have handled their business. This is a team with a first-year true freshman starting quarterback. If they go 9-3, that's not a bad season. That's a perfectly, you're on the periphery of the college football playoff conversation right now with a true freshman quarterback, and your best receiver is a true freshman. Like, this is, and they've had they've had bad injury luck this year as well. All of that, I think I can say quite confidently, Chiron Moore is going to be the guy getting off the bus in Columbus next November.
9-3 is what Michigan is and has always been.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not getting fired for that. I know some fans are already fed up with him because you shouldn't be this close to bad teams.
Yeah.
But 9-3, 8-4, Jim Harbaugh did that. Lloyd Carr did. Lloyd Carr was 7-5. Gary Mueller, that's Michigan football. I know people don't want to believe it. Michigan fans don't want to believe it, but it definitely is. Remember, even a few years back, maybe 10 years ago, where Michigan's 10-win seasons could be counted on maybe one hand, and Ohio State had 4 times as many 10-win seasons. That's Michigan football.
Yeah, that was Michigan was great at a time when it was very hard to get to 11 wins. In the 1970s, when you're playing 11 regular season games and then a bowl game for some teams. So yeah, it is. Ohio State has, I forget what the stat was. It was like 10 years ago. It was like Ohio State had more 12-win seasons in the previous 6 years than Michigan had in like their program history or something like that. So, yeah, it is a definitely. You know, this is one of these Michigan fans can do the fun with historical facts thing too, where it's like, you know, yada yada yada.
Alabama just has to win, and
Yes.
then they're in the SEC championship game.
Okay, there you go. Luke says, sorry, just tuning in now. Did we learn anything? Were JJ and Carnell at least there? Yes, JJ and Carnell were at least there.
At least
yes.
they were
yes.
there.
Yes, Ryan Day confirmed. Yes. Geiger Lee says, this is approaching Jerry Lewis telethon length. Yes, happy Labor Day, everyone.
Ed, show 'em that timpani.
Warpug says, go Bucks, and thank you for everything, you folks at Buckeye Huddle. Warpug wants to know who snores louder.
Oh,
it's okay. We don't need to blow up Tony's spot. It's fine.
So to speak.
And let's see.
I don't hear it.
Geiger Lee wants to know, does the team have people that stay up at night watching the fire alarm pull boxes to make sure no one plays any games to ruin the sleep? And that is like this long history of this series where, you know, Michigan would go downtown. Michigan would stay downtown Columbus at one of the hotels, and like, oh, there'd never be hot water on the day of the game. Son of a gun, how'd that happen? And you'd have the fire alarms going off when Ohio State's staying up here, whatever. Yeah, this is. I'm sure that Ohio State has lots of people on staff. I'm sure they are making sure, like they used to have to do bed checks. It doesn't feel like you probably.
Well, Ryan Day said bed checks in his video.
Yeah. But I mean, like but in terms of like, I don't think you have to like sit there and make sure people aren't like sneaking.
This is him saying, they're saying good night to the players.
Yes, yeah.
But also, you know, you've got enough staffers. You might just plop somebody in a chair below, like right next to each fire alarm.
Yeah, yep.
Because there were Michigan fans at the arrival.
Oh yeah. Yep.
One of them was a loyal viewer saying hello to us.
Yep. Vinny says, when do the players get rewarded? The gold pants. That is after the season. Yeah, that's in.
It's after the season.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that like spring game time? It's around spring game? Because it's like they will bring the previous year's guys back. So yeah, that is not, you know, that's not, you know, next week or anything like that. So. All right, yeah. Luke says, sounds like I have 5 hours of content to rewind and watch. I'll put the coffee on. Yes, please do. We have lots of content here. We have lots of content in the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed. We have lots of content on our YouTube channel. In case you have not seen, Tony and I did a little bit of a preview over in front of Michigan Stadium earlier. Gave you a little look around. If you look on our YouTube shorts, I did just a little kind of like walk around, just to give you sort of a little bit of a lay of the land there. We'll do much more on Saturday before the game. We're at 3 hours and 36 minutes. I think we have possibly talked this entire thing out. And
until tomorrow morning.
Good news. Tomorrow morning around 9:40 or so, you will get to hear us talk all over again, but we will do it inside the stadium. Tony and Kevin will be up in the press box. I will be out getting, hopefully, video of teams arriving. So yeah, it is going to be a long day tomorrow, pregame, postgame. This would absolutely, thank you, Luke, for saying we have absolutely crushed it this week. Appreciate that. If you guys enjoy this content, go ahead and subscribe to the Buckeye Weekly podcast feed. That's the show that Tony and I do. Subscribe to the Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning feed. That way, you know, when you're driving around, you can listen to us and you're not, you know, you don't have to look at us all the time. We're not that interesting to look at. We get it. But you can subscribe to those. That's an easy way. Leave us a 5-star rating or review there as well. That's a nice little thing that helps kind of juice the algorithm and shows the shows to more people. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you want to become a member, that's a cool little thing you can do. Help us out. And you, of course, join us at BuckeyeHuddle.com.
You've said it all, Tom. So I will only say thank you all of you tuned in, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.